Beautiful people, welcome to learn how to trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That right there is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to head on over from the other stream. We already got the OG of moderators, Bears versus Bulls. Thank you very much for welcoming me back. Shout out to you, my man. We got Pillsbury, Safari, Sharif, and Adara. Hello, what's up to you, my man? We got the sofa monster. Chase Bands, $2. Adara looking fabulous, but I'm not divorcing Mara. Neither you nor BPI, baby. Was just talking to him. Charon Tej, Ponzi Fonzie, Mateus Lane, Oscar Plays. We got Chris. Come on, we got JC Finance, we got Forlats, Ronaldo, Daniel Butters, Sixto V, we got Stock Trader, that's a hell of a name right there. We got Tazwar, Kanye East, Edgar, Bulb, okay. We got Luke, we got Diet Soda, Roland Joe, ND Trades. Welcome to everybody, guys. Thank you for joining Adara and I on How to Trade. This week, we will be talking all week about range trading. So that, you know, Adara loves her range trades. We'll be doing that all week this week. So make sure to hang out with Adara and I on How to Trade. Good morning, Adara.
Good morning. How are you? You survived and lived to tell the tale.
I did. Look, I went there thinking, you know, the gorilla was going to be the main attraction, walking with the gorillas, this, that, and the other, but it was really the walk with the lions. That was next level stuff. We'll be getting a lot more about that. But anything that you're looking at this morning yet? I know we just sat down, you and I.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at, I was actually looking at a small cap, but knowing that it's probably not doing anything anymore, it was going to be the Audia. I did like, you know what I liked about this is more or less higher highs, or not higher highs, flat top and higher lows. This to me could be a bit of a range breakout, perhaps, may chance. Or mayhaps, I don't know. But either, whatever old terminology you want to use, I do think there's some possibility of this guy. I'll show the 3 minute because I think it's slightly clearer on the 3. Breaking out. The only issue is I do want to see a little bit more oomph in this because I'm worried this will be one of those ranges where we have this kind of rounded top and we peter out. Generally, though, it looks flat top-esque. The lows seem to be higher in a way that's promising to me. I don't mind getting involved in Audia. Let's hear and listen in to see what Audia has to give us, because I think it might be getting a place on my side chart. How about you?
Yeah, I have to agree with everything you just said there. Audia, AUUD, guys, is, for me, the #1 small cap gapper du jour. It is followed up in terms of chart, not percentage on the day, but in just terms of chart, where it is relative to price and indicators, CADL. So I'll be looking at AUUD going into the afternoon and CADL. CADL is a bit of, you know, it's not that great. Look, it's got a 597 low and a 784 high, so we're talking about a couple of bucks worth of range there, and we're only up about 15% on the day. But as I look back, this thing had a Thursday. Wowie, wow, what the hell is this? This thing got off $2 on Thursday and rocketed to $11.50. It then ended up rejecting that same high on Friday, $11.50 double top. Let's see. Like, look, okay, so this one's up on the day. But what I want to see, #1, can it hold that $6 area? Namely because we troughed out near $6 on that Friday continuation. And the pre-market range this morning, $6 seems to be the low end of the range on CADL. So I'll be keeping eyes on this bad boy. But as I keep eyes on it, let me tell you a little bit about it. The float, 19.1 million share float. So not big, but not small either. Let's go ahead and bring down trade ideas and see if there is a non-negligible short float. Let's call it that, okay? 1.27%, so not much in the way of a short float there.
This one is like 46% insider owned. I just remembered that.
Oh, that's very important. Thank you for letting me know that. Yeah, so you're muted. Adara was muted, but she was telling me that there's a heavy insider ownership on CADL, so keep that in mind if you're going to trade this bad boy. So we'll keep eyes on Cadl. We'll keep eyes on AUUD. AUD's really flirting here with tradable versus not tradable in my book. It's got to maintain its price above VWAP. VWAP right now hanging out at that 4.5 area. This thing just dipped into 4.25. So it's slowly making its way out of non-tradable in my book. We'll have to wait and see if it remains tradable on the day. But Let's not digress any longer and start today's lessons, baby. We are talking about range trading all week. Today, we're going to just talk about the basics, baby. We're going to talk about introduction into range trading. What's the hype about? We're going to get to it right now. So the basics, right? When an asset is trading within a defined support and resistance level, this is what we call a range trade. So you could have, I always use Apple 165 low, Apple 200 high. So that's a bit of a range there. Go back a few months, have a look at the low on Apple, have a look at the high. That is a bit of a range trade. If you get it near 165, may be a good long. If you get it near 200, might be a good short, okay? Ranges often form during periods of consolidation, surprise, surprise, and can be either brief or prolonged, right? So we're gonna have to keep eyes on that. Ranges are fractal as well. And you hear a lot about Adair and I talking about technical indicators and chart patterns and candlestick patterns being fractal in nature. And by that we mean you can use them on whatever time frame fits your fancy, but you always should keep in mind the lower down the time frame ladder you go, the higher the failure rate for whatever you're using. It's a technical indicator, a chart pattern, a candlestick, a range, whatever it is. The lower down the time frame, the higher the failure rate. And here is a great image showing candlestick ranging patterns over here. Adara put the lesson together today, so we're going to shout out Adara and thank her because I didn't have an opportunity to do it yesterday. And there you go. You got a little bit near the high, a little bit here near the low. So what are you looking for when we talk about range trades? So when you're searching for a range trade, you should definitely keep an eye out for stocks that have defined, repetitive support and resistance levels, right? As discussed on previous installments of how to trade, the more times an asset touches a level, the more significant the level becomes. Again, think about that 200 on Apple. How many times are we going to touch 200 and reject on Apple to the high side? There's similarly, you could make I know it hasn't been up there lately, but NVIDIA at 1,000, right? We've been doing the dance kind of with 1,000 for a while. Remember when Meta was trading below 300? Remember how many times we kept rejecting off that 300? And the more times it touches that level, it shows you the more propensity it has to get up there, the more weight I would assign to that particular level. And I think that's what is being said here. Make sure to check and see if these support and resistance levels have been significant in the past, right? Are they previous support and resistance levels from earlier in the day or earlier in the week or earlier in the month, right? Is this an opening or closing level? Also a very important question. Are we seeing resistance at the high of day? Another very important question. Here's another very good description of what a range trade is. Obviously this $140 level on the euro and the yen kept holding up, and anytime you made it up until 141.5, you always seem to find that 140 and 2/3 as a support level there. Again, range trading works on Forex as it does on commodities, as it does on equities, and I'm sure my crypto heads out there would make the argument it works on crypto as well. So how do you plan this trade, right? If you're going to trade, shout out to the Chilean nightmare, baby. If you're trading at the bottom of the range, your plan may be to go long off the bottom end of that range, right? And then take profit as the asset or whatever you're trading nears the top end of the range. Conversely, if you're feeling bearish or the market is pointing you into a bearish direction, you may plan your trade at the top end of the range. So Apple gets into 200 and you've got all these people looking to punch short at that 199.95, 199.90, whatever, okay? So that is kind of the idea there. So again, very, very straightforward. You have a defined range here on the euro and the yen at 141.5. And you look to get short at that 141.5 area. Conversely, you're looking to get long at 140 and 2/3. And that would be your move there. Some factors to consider, though, when you're going to conduct some range trades. Be cognizant, guys, of the overarching trend. If a stock is up 5% on the day, it may be riskier to short it at the top end of the range, despite the fact that that range was valid in previous days, weeks. Okay, so keep your eye on the actual trend on the day. And then consider your risk to reward methods, your metrics, excuse me, before entering a range trade. If the range is, for example, 10 pennies, you're going to risk 20 pennies. The trade may not make sense from a risk to reward ratio perspective. Always keep in mind the size of the range and potential profit in relation to your risk there. And so shout out to Adira. Again, appreciate you for putting that together, because I kind of just went to sleep right away.
I mean, understandable,
I walked in,
right? Yeah,
like I'm going to bed.
You just got back from a trip. How long was that flight?
Okay, so I stopped off in Egypt,
Yes,
right? And then I went over to my cousin's who lives right by the airport, got in a quick nap, a quick shower because I was feeling disgusting, and then just went right back there. But let me tell you, there was something jabbing out of the seat. I don't know what it was, because like my coccyx is not very happy. It's hurt. So is my lumbar area. But that may be a beef I might have to pick with Egypt Air. What are you looking at over there? I see some red. Okay, some profits there, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I took this this Tesla trade. So I did get out of it. Yeah, it was not showing the position board, but I'll tell you guys where I got in. I got in 73.01s. There was going to be a reload at 172.69s. We never got there. So the reason I chose that 69 level as well is I wanted that 9 EMA bounce. I got involved. I was watching us test this a little bit. I like these little wicks to the downside showing, hey sellers, you're not welcome over here, sir. So I like this area of entry here. I like that we generally had lower highs, higher lows. So I was like, you know what, why not get in? Initially took some profits here at the top of that earlier area of resistance, because as we know, or as I've talked about ad nauseum, I do like taking out some profit and taking out, you know, at least a little piece where we had previous resistance, because I don't know if we're going to be able to withstand that. In Tesla's case, Tesla was like, what previous resistance, Adira? And continued to fly up to almost 174. Really happy with where I took profits here, just shy of that high of day 174.05. We got out at, let me check here, 172.95. So I'm pretty, actually, oh, sorry, no, 173.92. That was where I was going to add. So please does punch with this. I do have to say, yeah, I've noticed.
The chat is undefeated, guys. Coccyx is a small triangular bone in the base of the spine, and I love that the messages coming through here. But what? What did he just say? And
it is a bone.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I like Steven. He's like, I'm long coccyx, right? All right, punch. COCCYX. That's how it's spelled, guys. All right, let's have a look at some small cap gappers du jour, because we talked a little bit about AUD and we talked about a little bit about CADL, but these are not the only ones that I'm watching, guys. We have a couple of up over here. You heard me mention Longeveron this morning at the big desk with Brendo, and that brings back all sorts of memories. This thing is a former runner. It was an absolute beast last year or the year prior to that. Neil, did you talk about Longeveron today? No, he didn't. Okay. So let's have a look here at Longeveron. And the reason I looked at Neil and not the Katina Man, because the Katina Man, he does his thing with the large caps, right? Shout out to Katina Man. What's going on over there, by the way? Anything you want to report? Any new positions other than your printing?
You heard his name.
He's out of Amazon. He's chilling like a villain right now. Yeah, so as you can see here, Katina Man, BPI and I just walked around all over the area trying to buy these glasses. Nobody has them. Nobody's got them. Well, the BPI was telling me $10 a pop. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. Sounds like a deal. I mean, maybe I'll rent them for that price, but I don't know if I'd buy them. They're paper. Guys, but LGVN, excuse me, as you can see here, it's a former runner. You can see it identified by these monster candles that it put in. It ran in October, ran in late December. So this one is a former runner. But as you can see, it's had a lot of trouble breaking and holding above the 200 period moving average on any closing basis. You will get an intraday pop every now and again through the 200. But again, like we were just talking about trends here, keep your eye on a possible retracement on LGVN, because it has a way of continuing to make lower lows and lower highs over time. Now, with respect to Friday's price action, because this one started moving Friday, the high that we have to deal with there was around 4 to 4.25. We've cleared that, though, earlier today. In the pre, we got to about 475, and then when the bell rung, we got all the way up into 574. So this one's not tradable for me. That is if and until it gets above that 4.25, where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. I'm talking about LGVN. We'll see what this one brings later today. LIFW also showed up on my scanner, and this one had a decent day on Friday. Nothing really to write home about. A bit of a top there at $1.33, but it blows through that on light volume earlier in the pre, and this thing skyrocketed up into 2 2/3. Again, though, much like some of the other ones we've been talking about, not tradable for me. It's broken below the volume weighted average price. It's below that pre-market top that we put in before 9:30. So we'll have to wait and see whether this one can reclaim its tradable status. And last but not least, I want to mention UCAR. UCAR had a big bump up there at around 615. I'm not sure for whatever reason. I'm not even sure of the catalyst. But again, this one breaking down below the volume weighted average price and below the pre-market high, trading at 650 now. We'll have to wait and see if it can get above 750 or thereabouts. And maybe it will be tradable. We'll keep eyes on this one. Guys, I should mention today, I am in the sim, so hopefully we'll be back live trading tomorrow. Just want to get my feet under me and, first day back.
Yeah, it makes sense. I am still in the sim. I am going to, the plan is to do the compliance test this week. I know I've been dragging my feet a little bit on it just because last week was not my trading week, as I did, I was, I think, pretty open about. We had some rough days last week, but you know what? Only play to go is up, right? So, although someone pointed out very astutely in the chat, in trading you can always go more down as well. But you know what? In terms of my optimism and my sentiment, we're just going to keep going, keep trucking. Tesla, if you want to keep doing this little range thing around this 173.50 to 174, I'm not gonna like stop you. Do your thing, 21. So this Tesla is still very much on my mind. Previous high of day, 174.05. Now we're at 174.13. So Tesla very slowly cyber trucking to the upside here. Very slowly. Quinn Clocken saying Intel might break down low of day. Let's take a look at I to the N to the T to the C. See what the Intel is on Intel. Yeah, let me try a 5-minute chart on this because I want to make sure I see what you mean. Yeah, this is interesting because we have a bit of a flat bottom here. More or less around that 38.5, and then we have these kind of wicks to the downside too. We're trying to break below it, and Intel's like, So let's see. Generally lower highs right now. We are decidedly below VWAP. A lot of wicks though. The range per candle or range per wick on Intel has been a little bit bamboozling. So let's see what you hear. I guess you saw Kyle Burdett super chat.
I just saw it now. Big Kyle Burdett, $4.99 super chat. Thanks very much, Kyle. Kyle's hilarious. Sharif, welcome back. Sorry to hear you hurt your coccyx on the flight. Mile High Club hashtag. You're a funny guy, Kyle. And you spelt coccyx wrong, but I'm sure that was by design, wasn't it?
That was
Yeah, Kyle's doing things over there, Neil. Neil. Hey, Neil. Hey, Neil. Did you happen to have a look at the standings of the Premier League this week? Did you happen? I can pull it up if you'd like.
You know, the funny thing is, when I came back and you were gone, Liverpool had actually just passed our
I know, because we tied City.
Yeah. You wait until it's the reverse.
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to be tying Manchester United. They kind of suck. I love Neil. I'm so happy to be back so I can chirp with Neil every morning. Neil is undefeated, by the way, guys. Anyway, I'm looking at AUUD here, Chilean Nightmare, as we break back above the volume-weighted average price, trying to work our way up into $5. We seem to be having issues with that $5 area for whatever reason. You can see that we have prints well above $5, but even looking at the 1-minute chart here, Adair, you can see that every time we move into 5, there's an obvious seller or somebody taking a lot of profit in and around that area. I want to see what we do with 5 the rest of the day.
Yeah, same. I mean, I still have my ears open for some action there in AUUD and that Audia, but because I'm not like super well versed in small caps, I want to be very hesitant before I enter. I have traded some of these small caps, but I really need to watch them move a good few times first. And I've traded them with mixed success. So y'all keep an eye on that. Tesla, though, I missed out, unfortunately, on this opportunity. I was going to get involved, and then we kind of failed at 173.50, and I was like, ooh. And then we bounced right back up, and I was like, So a little bit of a bamboozling moment for myself internally on this TSLA. I do have a resting order here ready at just above that 173.55. If we can keep bouncing here, who am I to say no to the Cybertruck? If the Cybertruck is going to give me these options, you know what I mean? So I think this could be a nice little opportunity here. X marks the spot potentially here, and I think that spot is that 173.50 to 174 area. Want to take this with, you know, a decent amount of shares, just ping pong up and down here. I guess that's 10.
You said, who am I? Made me think of Sima.
Oh, yeah.
Who am I? Yeah, as soon as you said that, that's what came to my mind.
That's all. Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, that's a good time there. And TSLA, certainly, I think, giving some opportunities. But I do want to look at some other stocks. This is the one thing I've looked at all day. So let's see what else other people are talking about. I know Michelle Muir in the chat was mentioning Ulta Beauty. So let's take a look here. Or was it Ulta Beauty, or did I read that wrong? Yeah, Ulta. So this is, I think this might be a swing play because you said 152. I mean, congrats to you. That's amazing. Let's take a look at the daily on Ulta. Ulta last week took a bit of a tumble with regards to that. They were, I think, a fireside chat with the JP Morgan, and yeah, they said that they do not believe it can generate above 15% margins on their more moderated comp of 3 to 4%. So that's pretty rough. Also said they see a slowdown across all of their segments, which is very much in contrast to their previous growth estimate. So bit of a rough look here. We did break below that earlier support area of 470, but overall right now we're at like 453 on Ulta Beauty. And we are, after we had that big move down, we're continuing to kind of pop back to the high side. I would like to see it break above that previous support of 470. Let's not see support turn to resistance on ULTA on the daily chart. But this is a nice look, Michelle Muir. Also, Havana Woody, tagging both of us. What do you think about today's eclipse reaching its peak right at market close time? What happens when everybody goes to watch it during power hour? Yeah, I mean, it looks like it might be solar power hour today instead of our regular power hour. So we're gonna have to see what happens there. But I think it'll really, I think, depend on overall, is the market doing things that are interesting? Because if so, I'm sure traders will still be trading.
Well, yeah.
The market's kind of, if it's power down hour, then I do think people will turn to the eclipse.
Hold on. Does it like go through? Does New York get? No, they don't. Okay. So what I was thinking was the path. So it'll affect like the path that it's on. The people that are in its path will probably be the people that go outside, no trade and stuff like that. Yeah. I have no idea. I know that Niagara and Hamilton are in the full totality. So what am I seeing here, Chilean Nightmare? Okay, so what is that exactly?
Airbnb rental.
I know I don't have Unity Connect because the thing is sorry, it's not working.
So it's Airbnb rental occupancy.
Airbnb rental occupancy. Wow, we got the hand.
So that's
the hand is here.
That's what it looks like, and then the orange is like the most populated. So this is the timeline on April 6th, and now April 8th, which is today, the path of totality.
And the diagonal line right there, that's the path of totality you were talking about. Yeah.
So all the Airbnbs
that's
are
crazy.
booked over there, which is wild.
Look at that, yeah, and it's diagonal.
path.
Yeah, that's and so it's outside of New York. Okay, so. Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. Brenda was saying that this morning at the big desk. He's like, watch, we'll keep an eye at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock when the eclipse is supposed to be here, and we'll see what the volume is like at the time. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Guys, I'm looking right now at my large cap chart. So we already looked at the small cap gappers du jour. Let's have a look now at the Mag 7. And the only Mag 7 names that I can see a discernible trend on that are not really consolidative or zigzaggy are going to go by the tickers Google and TSLA. Google had a move earlier on and is now become a little consolidative between that 155 and a quarter and 155. So we'll have to see if it can break out of that range. It's still doing its darndest though to hold on to that 10 EMA. That is the green solid line on my chart. All the dips off the 10 EMA have been bought up on Google. It's up 1 2/3%. Tesla, though, the monster, that is TSLA, up 5 3/4, right back into 174.5. We're almost there. We have 174 1/3 HOD, but the half looks like it's going to break any second now, as we are at day's high right now on Tesla. I don't know, man. This robo-taxi thing is going to be super interesting to see how this ends up working out, right? I think, this is, I hate to say this, I kind of feel like he's grasping at straws here. He's really good at hyping stuff up. We know what he does. He always gives a skewed timeline, but the technology always seems to find its way to the market. I just don't believe that we're going to have anything robo-taxi related in the way that maybe we foresee it, like the cars that actually drive on their own for a while. And I think the regulator is going to be up his yin-yang. Especially if we continue with the current administration. They don't like him. They've made a point that they don't like him. And so it's going to be tough for him to get that approved. So we'll have to wait and see. The regulation is a big thing for stuff like this. It is transport, and that's heavily regulated. So Tesla, fantastic look here at 174.5, but how do you get in? Right? So to me, I'm trying to look at what it's jiving with. And well, it was definitely jiving with the volume weighted average price when it was at 171. All the closing prints printed above the volume weighted average price. But what is it jiving with now? Again, it comes back to that 10 EMA. All the dips into the 10 EMA are all being bought up on TSLA. So I'm thinking maybe we see some resistance here at 175, and that's, kind of a random area because it's just a $75 level. If I had to choose a specific price action level, that takes us all the way back last week into Thursday. The high on Thursday there, I guess before the bad news came out, was 177 and change. So if we make it into 177, I'll definitely be looking for a short on TSLA owing to that crest on Thursday. But other than that, it's going to be either have to be a 10 EMA dip trade or no trade at all. So we'll continue to watch there. Eddie R. Elon sometimes makes himself not so easy to like with some statements. You're not wrong. I don't agree with everything he says, but I like him. Chef Joe, Elon about to do a live stream Spaces podcast, Sharif on X. Really, previously, before announced, not so sure he might drop some gems, said by 12. Very interesting, Chef Joe. Thank you for letting me know that, because if he starts dropping hot lines on that, well, Tesla stock, we know it will likely move. This was the highest traded options stock last year, and for like 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So there's going to be volatility on this if a catalyst breaks, right? So we'll keep me updated, Chef. If anything comes out, I'm sure the price action will tell us because we'll see it immediately. But let me know if you hear anything on your side.
Yeah, that's certainly something to keep an eye on here. I did get involved in Google, although Obi gave this one a new nickname last week.
What do you do?
Instead of Google, he's now been calling it Goggle.
Goggle.
So Obi trying to switch it up a little bit. I think he did also alternately call it Google, but yeah, Goggle. He's trying to make Goggle happen there, which has been pretty fun as well. I was getting involved in that too. I also tried to get involved in this Google long, but I don't know how I'm feeling about it. We get involved here. I like this chop and churn. Then we kind of break to the downside here. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Also, did I fat finger a little bit here? Yes, I did. It was like maybe like 2 pennies here, so not a massive loss, and I still have 2/3 of the position in, but I did want to address that. I have been getting better about the fat finger moments last week, I will say. This is a bit of a setback, but just getting better and making sure I'm proofreading my trades every day, so nice look. We're gonna give this about another 10 pennies. I do have this line here, that earlier area of support. If we can't bounce like a little trampoline here off that 154.80, what am I doing here? So I'm gonna have to Google search for a way to get out of that trade if we don't bounce at that level. If we do bounce at that level, we might add a little bit, especially because I do not have all the shares I wanted to have because that little fat finger. So yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens here. GOOGL, maybe not the best trade idea I've ever had, but we're gonna have to see what happens here. Tesla though, I also have eyes on Tesla. I was in Tesla earlier. I do not like this giant bearish engulfing candle in the 5-minute, not one bit. But if we do have that bounce at the previous area, I was like in that 173.50, I will probably get involved, just making sure that I don't still have that resting order, because that would have been really dicey, but I don't, so that's all good. Tesla, do your thing, 21. Let's find out what happens here. Google probably breaking down. I think I might need to Google search for a way out of that one. NVIDIA, yeah, it's not my finest work. NVIDIA here too, at this 1-minute chart. I've been talking about these 1-minute plays in NVIDIA. The support in NVIDIA at the 1 minute at this 875 has been here since the start of the midday. It's been about now, I can't believe it, already half an hour in. So this is something I want to keep an eye on. I do think there's some potential in either direction here, on and to the V, to the D, to the A, but I see you're looking at another mega cap.
I am, because Meta just put in a big boy 5-minute rec candle here, and I can't understand exactly what's going on. I mean, well, it's already weak on the day. We saw it open up there, pop into 531, then Huadunk went the dynamite, dropping $9 there into 522. And then we tried to go back above break even, above that 527, but alas, we are down again, and we're breaking down below 524, and it looks like we're going to break pivots here. Pivots are the dotted green line on my chart. So if you see dotted green lines, that is the pivot point. It is always horizontal and never squiggly. So you should be able to identify them just based on that. But Meta coming into that, coming into pivots, so we'll see exactly how it does around here. But I got to tell you, a 522 dip or 522.5 on Meta, and I may look for a double bottom bounce off these levels here if it makes its way down another $1.50 or so or thereabouts. Otherwise, we'll look for a curl off pivots. It hasn't respected pivots on the day, so I am kind of hesitant to want to base anything off that level, but I'm keeping it in mind. We'll look for a curl or anything here off META, some midday weakness coming in. Now, Softy. Let's go ahead here and have a look at Softy. So I am long Softy, guys. I think you guys have me on live still. I am on sim today, guys. So this is all going to be sim trades for me today until we just, work our way back into normal. So the reason I got in here at 525.50 on MSFT is that is yesterday's closing print, and there also happens to be the volume weighted average price right there. So I was looking for a possible dip trade here on Softy at 425.5, but it is coming down at around, what are we at here? 425.20. If it breaks 425, that's going to be my line in the sand for Softy. We'll look for it to hold either VWAP or Friday's closing print, but right now not looking awfully good at these levels. Tesla, I should mention to everybody, just touched the 10 EMA again at 173.50 or thereabouts. So anybody interested in a Tesla trade, this is the area where it's bouncing off. Well, it's proof to you that it's been bouncing off this area all day, right? Whether it does it this time around, a completely different story. But the green solid line on my chart, that's a 10 EMA, and Tesla touching that price right now at 173.40 or thereabouts. Could be an interesting area here on Tesla, Dara.
Yeah, I'm getting in on that Tesla. I like that bounce. I don't know if we'll get filled. I put it at 49. It's a little bit more conservative because it is Stressla. We got involved. Let's see what happens. We got in at 173.49. We are giving this to that nice little previous area of around 173s. We're giving this about 40 pennies because we want to get about 50 pennies. So I continue to have these very mathematically confusing risk reward areas, but I'm just seeing areas I like, right? Just trying to take profits and what have you. I will be taking out some profit right before that 174 because that is that's kind of what I like to do. These previous areas of support and resistance coming back into effect, we will be getting some out here. Should Tesla decide it would like to keep cyber trucking to the upside, we will be prepared. We will be ready. Also, I did just proofread that because I was cognizant about the fat finger trading earlier. Also, someone was asking in the chat, which I want to talk about, what counts as a fat finger trade? I'm going to pull up the exact, here it is. What is the definition of a fat finger? Because I think fat finger is buying more shares than you wanted or at a price you didn't want. So there's a couple different ways you could do it here. So yeah, there we go. Thank you, Fabian and Ramin, for this one. In the context of electronic trading, this refers to a trader incorrectly keying in an order. So that can be either you did, like you bought too much, like your definition is correct, but there's also different ways to define it as well. Yep. If you sell too early. A lot of what I'll do is, let's say I want to get involved here. Let's say I want to sell at 174.50s, but then I'll type it in wrong and I'll say 173.50s. That's usually how I end up fat fingering, is I get the decimal a little bit off. So it's just about, for me, it's about like proofreading and making sure, hey, Dara, is that what you wanted to type? Or did you fall asleep at the wheel a little bit there, right? So you want to make sure, for me, it's just proofreading more so than anything else. Also, we did try to get involved in that NVIDIA range. We were not, it's not BVDA, it's NVIDIA. Pamp it? Pamp. You're also in the Cybertruck.
Yeah,
I love that.
I like that. I like that. We were talking about it. I mean, it's really the only one that actually has a direction, I feel. I mean, you could say the other ones have directions. I'm talking about the large caps, Mag 7 or whatever we're going to call them. Sideways is a direction, I guess. But if you're looking for either up or down, it's going to... We were saying Google was directional as well, but it's since changed its mind since around 10 o'clock. Anyway, we order beak there on the break of the $0.50 on TSLA. Let's see if we can make our way up possibly into that 174.5. That's technically the high of day. That's $1 off from where we are right now, Adara. So 5 1/5% for Tesla. Definitely nothing to sneeze at. My out is the break of 173, so we're going to have to risk 50 pennies. We're at 42 pennies here. So if it breaks 173, that's the end of the story. Microsoft is going to stop me out here. If it breaks 425, that's the end of the story. It's awfully close. Here is MSFD. This is going to come down below. Yeah, it's going to stop me out right now. So we'll see if we get triggered. The ask has to. So on this side of the book, there we go. Now we're out of Softy, so we can just focus on TSLA. Yeah, Softy really coming down aggressively there. For whatever reason, 427 1/4. HOD doesn't stop at all at the closing print from Friday. Doesn't stop at all at the volume weighted average price. I liked this area over here specifically because VWAP and the closing print were going through the same price level, excuse me. So I was like, okay, well, we'll take a calculated risk on this one, but alas, it was not to be. So we'll have to wait and see. Tesla coming down now, looks like into that 173 1/4 area. So it took some out, but this one might be coming down, Adara, as the market coming down now. 18.3, here comes 18.3, and the market is tanking. What's going on here? 11:30. Did we have one of those auctions?
Yeah, there was, I think, 3 months, 6 months.
Okay, that makes sense. So we're at a Tesla as a result of that because the market tanked down below 18.3, but I don't know if I want to be out of this trade actually. So the 3-month auction and the 6-month were both at 11:30. They were, yeah, I don't know what they were trading at prior to the actual print, the result of the auction, but they both were a little bit worse off received than they were last time. So we'll keep eyes on that, and I could look to get into Tesla here if it is able to break back above 173.
Yeah, that's not common either, that these auctions we get at the lunchtime or like the earlier like 11:30 impact the market in that way. So that's very interesting. I did get involved in NVIDIA here. We did get NVIDIA for the first time today. And I liked it because we have held this level remarkably well. This 875 now. It looks like we've been breaking down a little bit with the auction, so maybe the timing of this was not ideal, but I'm going to give this about $1. It's NVIDIA. If you're not giving it, I've learned the hard way with NVIDIA, if you don't give it a little bit of a room to run, then you kind of end up in a position where you have the idea right, but you just time it improperly, and then you get out. So NVIDIA, testing my patience to Scotia here. We're going to give this, get out some of this at about 8.7. Let's do 875. 90s. Also, I did get out of Tesla at the same time as Sharif for the same reason, just the breakdown there. But yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens here. I will be getting out some of this at that 875.90. There we go, NVIDIA. Keep coming back. We got this. I guess I am cheering on a stock. It's cool. Good time. And then I'll be getting out the rest of this at that just a shy of 877 because that's the other area that I like on the stock. Also, yeah, NVIDIA does not know what direction it would like to be in today. You know, it's not sure what it wants to be when it grows up. If it decides, let me know, girl. That'd be nice. But yeah, we're just going to be taking this trade right now, this range trade. We're more or less at this point of entry. Every time we kind of dip below into that 874, we do tend to snap back up. Of course, things can change, plans can change, stocks can change. But if it doesn't change, I'll be here. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy I took this right now. Probably should have taken the short on the other end of the range. That might have been a tastier trade and a little bit more immediate, but what it could have, should have. Right? So there we go. I also am cognizant of the fact I'm trading this on the 1 minute, so I will be cross-referencing with the 3 and the 5 to make sure I still like what I'm seeing. Although the 3, here's the 5, but I think the 3 as well, they've both been kind of that rangy look. Yeah, here we go. The 3 even probably clearer than the 5, which is a smaller time frame, so not obviously not ideal, but I do like that we have this kind of bottom here, 875, top of more or less 877. Let's see what's cooking here in NVIDIA. How are you doing here?
Back in Tesla, like looking to fight this 173 area over here. We'll see, because we had a bottoming tail candle on the future, bouncing aggressively off 18.3 and right back up above we go. So we already wet our beak there on an exit on TSLA. Let's see if we get that other print. I'm waiting at 33s for that. We'll see if we can get that print there. Let's see what else is popping off, because I remember crypto was hot. Let's see what crypto is up to. Okay, where are we at here? Okay, so what's it called? Ethereum coming down a little bit off the morning high. We were talking about almost 10% for Ethereum. Now it's about 7.5. How's Mara doing? Wow, Mara's the only negative minor on the day. Mara's down 0.5 percentage point, Riot's up 1/4, Clean Spark 1.5, Hut 8 2.5. So Mara really taking it on the chin here, and I don't even know if there's a specific catalyst for Mara for this weakness. Nothing that I can clearly see here. Yeah, well, maybe we'll have to ask BPI when he comes back. Nick Dubb, what are your thoughts on Meta here? We were looking at Meta earlier, remember, because it was coming down aggressively there. And I was talking about this pivot point over here being an interesting area. So we get this very interesting looking candle, very bottoming tail, kind of doji looking candle, holding up above pivot points, and that's on the closing print. So this could be an interesting double bottom here, Nick, to be honest with you. I don't, it's hard to trade this because of the range that it presents. So you're gonna have to trade this obviously with a bit more range. Personally, if I was to get in at this area, I'd have my stop at the bottom end of this candle. If it broke 522 3/4, that would be my line in the sand. The other school of thought could be below this area over here, below 522, because that is the IB low at that 522.11 technically. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if Meta presents us with opportunities. But yeah, that double bottom on Meta could be an interesting look there. Still in Tesla, let's see what we get on this bad boy here. I'm not in this Microsoft trade. I know it says I'm short Microsoft at 424.93. I'm actually not. I think it's just the position board. We'll wait and see. I just want to let you guys know that I was not in that. Bhavan Patel, yes, I see everybody talking about DXYZ, and I did pull that up on my side chart, and I do remember this name from before I left, right? But I do remember also that it was quite an expensive name. So let's put up the chart for DXYZ here. DXYZ, let's put in the ticker, and then I'll give you the deets on this name. So first and foremost, let's put in that. All right, so I don't have any details on it. That's funny. Okay, let's bring in trade ideas.
It's a tech ETF. It has
I know, I just don't have any float or anything like that.
Makes sense.
DXYZ. Let's find out if trade ideas has anything on it. So trade ideas saying the float is 9.25 million. There's no short float on it. The market cap, is there a market cap on this thing? Yeah, market cap sub 1 billion, about 987 million. So not small, but definitely not of the regular standards that we trade with the small caps. So we'll keep an eye on DXY. It's just obviously, it's moving dollars at a time here, guys. Right, look at that. It just hit 100 and now we're at $83, right? So it moved $17 in 5 minutes. Yeah, it's a little scary. Look, VWAP dip trade, 80 bucks. That would be my line. That would be where I want to take it. Looks like it might halt here at 82.96. It is halted. So this thing did halt, down halt, huge down halt, 82.96. I'll tell you the tap. Do I have the tap on this? Let me just pull it up here. The tap, I don't actually have the tap. Or do I? I don't. Okay. I'll have to look that somewhere else. Anyway, 82.96 DXYZ halted, guys. Be careful with this one. It's a dangerous one here. We got to fill on Tesla through the brick of the $0.25 there, but still nothing to really write home about it there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not a Mesla, though. So,
No.
Yeah, Successla. Congrats.
Okay.
Yeah, Obi gave us a new one, Blessla, as well. So, yeah, Obi was killing it with the pun game. Also, Obi in general just killing it. So, shout out to Obi for holding it down while Sharif was hanging out with Lions. And
He left his headset over here. So I feel like I should be engaging in some sort of prank using this thing. Like, I don't know, maybe like pepper in the ear or some hot sauce.
You went like really far with it. I like that.
Like, am I not obliged to do this? Like,
You may be obliged. Yeah, you come back, it's right there with the straws. Yeah, it's a.
I know, right? Those are new from this morning, but
Oh, they're
it's
new.
all good.
But yeah, so I'm happy with this NVIDIA. Please just punch. I might say I did end up getting a load of this a little bit earlier than I wanted. I ended up scalpulating out of it, but I was pretty proud to get involved. 875, take out some at 876. Initial plan was to hold for 877. Then, however, we dropped down a little bit, and I say, Adara, one of those things I learned from taking that NVIDIA short that Sean also happened to be in last week, one of the biggest things I learned is reload. So I did reload at 875. Then I wanted to get everything out at 876. We were struggling a little bit with that. I said, Adara, be happy with 875.50. We did. I was pleased as punch. Let's see what else happens here. Yeah, NVIDIA, I find and I mentioned this last week, if I trade this guy exclusively off the 1 minute and I scalp, usually not a bad time. Of course, I do have to wait for the setups I like to come in. And we had a setup I liked in NVIDIA, so that's why I took it. Happy to be out NVIDIA, and also happy to look for whatever happens here on these here markets, because I do think there could be some opportunities. Google, though, having a little bit of a turn here, or as Obi's calling it now, goggle. Yeah, before we have the eclipse goggles on, we have to look at this guy. I think we interestingly enough switched from support to resistance on this 9 EMA. We had nice little bounces off this earlier. I was trying to play a bounce, and Google was like, try again. Search again. We're not finding a lot of results here for that search. So now we're rejecting here that 9 EMA becoming an area of resistance rather than support. Google, if you want me to stay out, cool. I left where I wanted to. We had that break a little bit earlier. Also, this was a fat finger. So yeah, it was not a great trade, but no way to go but up. I've only traded large caps today, so I am looking for some other opportunities. But if that NVIDIA range holds up, you best believe she will be on my radar.
Arsenal Adam wants me to look at a ticker by the name of ARSENAL. I've never traded this one. Have you?
What is it?
ARSENAL.
Oh, it's Arsenal. Okay, that
you looked at me with like the most confused look. You're like, what is this guy talking about?
I'm not used to the delivery.
Yes, Arsenal is. Did I just get booed? Oh, okay. I'm hearing stuff, bro. I think I'm coming back with a little bit of jungle fever there, baby. But yeah, Arsenal numero uno in the Prem, baby. Shout out to Arsenal Adam. Remind me of that. We already trolled Neil at the top of the show for that. But I got stopped at a Tesla, guys, because this one broke down below 173. It is now well below the 10 EMA. It is now dancing with the 20 EMA. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Straight red candles in a row on the 5-minute look here on TSLA. Where do we get down to? Well, I see 172 looks awfully good for me to try another long on Tesla. And the reason is it's a whole dollar level and it's a volume weighted average price. We also did a bit of a consolidation top there at around 10 or so where we couldn't break through that 172. We were kind of dancing between 171 and 172 for about 20 minutes or so. So we'll see if it makes its way down there. We'll look to get another long on TSLA, but yeah, right now breaking down below 173 in the future is well below 18.3, so below Friday's close. Again, we closed out right at 18.3 on Friday, and that was really interesting because I was doing a little bit of charting this morning, and then I saw essentially the Friday close. By close I mean like the last hour. There was a lot of aggressive buying to bring us up right into 18.3. It almost feels like it was planned. So it was interesting to see that. We're doing the dance right now from the south side, the wick shimmy dance with 18.3. We'll see if we can actually reclaim that on a closing level. Roland Joe, let's go, bro. Yes. Shout out to Roland Joe, my man. Shout out to you. Manuel Palma, ACB gearing up over VWAP. Any thoughts? Let's have a look at Aurora Cannabis. Let's pull that bad boy up. I know cannabis was pumping before I left. I'm not really sure what's been doing as of late. Let's check ACB. Okay, not a bad look at all there today, Manuel. Let's pull up ACB on the top chart over here. What do we got? We're 10.4 to the good. How much volume have we done? 11.25 million shares. Great look here. There's obviously a seller of sorts between the 7 1/3. Let's say a little bit below 7 1/2. I'm going to say 7 1/3 because the closing print here took us to 7 1/3 and no higher. We got wicks as high as 745. We're putting incrementally higher lows. So that IB low was at 643. And then at 10:15, we touched the Friday close. So this is the Friday close on ACB. Right there at 6 2/3. And then the latest little dip trade over here took us to basically a little bit below 7. So it's higher low, higher low, higher low. Not necessarily, though, higher highs. That 745 is staring at us in the face. And also, if you're looking at getting in on ACB off a technical indicator, you're going to have to give this room. Because if you were thinking, okay, VWAP looks like a fantastic area that I can get in on. Well, look what it did last time at VWAP. Broke through it, even though the closing print above the volume weighted average price. You're going to have to give this room, though. And this one required about 10 pennies worth of room. So ACB, fantastic look. But I'm looking at that 745, 750, maybe even 7 1/3 as a local top here on Aurora Cannabis. Let's have a look at some other weed names. See what they're up to. Tilray, let's see what Tilray's up to on the day. Nothing. So this is ACB specific. Is there anything here? I'm looking for anything specific on Aurora. All right, well, let's have a look at the weed. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not seeing anything except Evergen, Evogen, and ACB, NCGC are the only ones that are green. The other ones are even the ETFs, the MSOS and the MSOX. They're all red on the day, so that's interesting. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Why is my ACB not here anyway? ACB, Aurora Cannabis. There we go. All right, so we'll put that back on there. I don't know. I'm not sure how to weasel my way into ACB here, but there we go. Look, more local highs right up into that 7 1/3, looking to take out that 740 area. So good call, Manuel. Just, you know, I need to get this on a dip, and I'm not exactly sure where, but good call out on that.
Yeah, ACB is a nice look. Fabian made a great joke in my ear there. Yeah, Sleeping Beauty, because of, like Aurora, the princess and Sleeping Beauty. Also, though, interesting, too, that we have this name Aurora running, like Aurora Borealis, on the same day we have an eclipse. So I think that could be a bit of an interesting one as well. Thank you for the bang button there. Also, I am in this IWM trade. I'm pretty happy with how this is going so far. I took this. I like this move down, but like I said, I've been trying to work on, with my ETF trades, making them less based on what's happening in the chart and more based on what's happening in the book. So what I've been doing is I've been watching what we have on the chart. Then when we get to levels I like it, look at the book and say, hey, what's cooking here? So right now I'm noticing we get into this 205.50 area and we reject. That was the impetus for taking the short. I have 5 planned beak wetters here, so this is a little bit spicy, a little bit different. We already did dip our beak once in the profit pond over yonder by that just shy of 205.40, so took about 5 cents, taking this with slightly larger share size so that we can just kind of wean ourselves off of this one, heading to the downside. Down. Damp it. But no, I want to see what we do at 205.50. I'm definitely willing to add there, willing to add at 205.60 as well. What I don't want is for us to have a big move up here at this 205.65 area. I will be watching this area like a hawk. That was definitely a bigger area of support than resistance earlier. Let's see if it keeps holding up. For now, though, I'll keep depositing shares on our way to the downside. I do like this IWM. Let's hope it's not an ILM in terms of, lose. We want this IWM trade to be a W. So let's see how this goes and hopefully not get IW massacred. Also, NVIDIA. What are you up to, NVIDIA? I haven't looked at you in, I was going to say many moons, but it's probably been like 2 minutes. NVIDIA now going from this really nice, also shout out to KC, apparently also in this trade, taking this one to VWAP, so congrats to you. Now, though, what's interesting is I feel like NVIDIA is doing lower highs and lower lows. And hey, NVIDIA, if you want to switch the range up on me, I don't have a problem with that. I'll take it short. Yes, apparently I have resorted to talking to stocks good times. But no, I do think there's probably some short potential here. I'm definitely not going long this again with this bottom of this range dropping off. So let's see what's in the cards here for NVDA. Are we going to be NVIDIA or OutVIDIA? We'll wait and see. For now, though, we're going to take some more profit here on this IWM. So we're going to have 3 beak wetters left now after this takeout. Yeah, we're trying to experiment. We're trying to give ourselves a little bit more room to run, trying to, become a little bit bolder traders every day. So as Sean says, a scared trader is a deficient trader. And I certainly am trying to get rid of some of the fear in my trading. So IWM and your 5 profit takers, we'll have to see how this goes. What are you looking at right now? I'm looking at CXAI. It's up nicely here, 19.8%. Looking to break towards that $6 area. It's at $5.95. So we'll keep tabs on this one. Here comes 6. There's some decent size here at $6. Let's see. There were just a little bit below 1,000 lots. To be quite honest, what's the volume on this one on the day? So let's talk a little bit about this.
volume-wise, 10 1/3 million shares, okay, so not too bad for a $6 name. Now, this one really started moving, well, let's be real, it started moving right at the bell. So it didn't have a discernible pre-market high off which we could base a trade, but it's shown its propensity to respect the volume weighted average price on the day. There was a beautiful dip trade right here, right into VWAP, got bought up immediately. There were several other previous ones, say around 10:30 to about 11, all of which bounced off the volume weighted average price. I'm talking about these specific ones right over here. On my chart, they come in a little bit closer to VWAP. VWAP on this one started generating a little bit later than the ones on my chart, but yeah, it's not really that important for the now's purposes. I just want to make the point that it did touch VWAP on some other charts. Here comes $6. Now we were talking about there goes $6. This one getting taken here, so that 1,000 lots or 750 lots or whatever it was at that $6 area, not enough to hold this one back now. Do we get a mean reversion trade on this where we dip below 6 quickly, maybe hold up at 590 or so, and then make our way up again? We're gonna have to wait and see. So let's put in some orders and find out there.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm pretty happy with how IWM went. We did end up taking everything out. I wanted to be a little bit more patient, and then would it shock anyone to hear that I had a fat finger moment? Probably not. But that's okay, you know what I mean? I'm still happy. We still have 3 peak winners on this.
Nice.
So please just punch. Thank you. Yeah, I'm proud of this trade. At the most, we took about 20 pennies on this. So given the little bit of volatility that IWM can give you, I'm pretty proud of this. Basically, just every time I would notice we got to a little bit lower on the book, I would take some out. We did end up taking out a little too much at the end, but you know, I'm not gonna cry over spilt shares. IWM keeps falling though, so you know, I'm a little bit upset I'm not in this, but we're not gonna FOMO into this. I don't have a reason to enter this trade. Just, you know, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. You know, we talk about JOMO and not FOMO. Now, do I enjoy missing out on this? No, but I'm not going to FOMO my way into a trade that doesn't work. So let's see how it goes. Nimit, I really appreciate this here. Good to see you both. Keep up the good work. Just logged in for this 1 hour of your awesome show. Yeah, I mean, let's look at a small cap for Nimit. Let's see how we're doing at AUUD. Also, shout out to you, Nimit. Hopefully you had a great morning. Well, actually, I guess not in the morning because time zone differences. But hopefully your day is going great so far. Yeah, this AAUD, let's switch to the 5 minute. I know both you and I had eyes, or I guess ears, on AAUD on Audia. And I mean, honestly, now that we broke back above VWAP, I don't really know if Audia wants to quit. She kind of seems like she wants to keep going. And generally, we are seeing higher highs and higher lows. Sorry, not higher highs, a flat top and higher lows. So I'm still considering this, but this is not really the type of trade I take in that it's a small cap. So this is something we're gonna, I did kick her off of my side chart briefly, unfortunately. She did get kicked to the curb a little bit, but I'm putting her back on my side chart because I do like these kind of higher lows that we're getting in this flat top. Once that formation came back into effect, this is something that I now will have my ears on once more, this AUUD. If you want a flat top break, I want to be a part of that. So let's see what happens there. Tesla kind of hanging out at this level. I don't really know what else to say here. We did get a little bit of a bounce off that previous area I identified of this previous resistance here, that 172.50. We get a bit of a bounce there. However, Tesla's still rejecting that 9 EMA, which is previous support, so I have no interest in getting involved in the Cybertruck at this juncture. She needs to show to me that she switched it up a little bit. Also, IWM looks like it's coming back into this area of rejecting that area. Speaking of 9 EMA rejections, although like I said, with IWM, what's gonna matter to me more is what we're doing in the book and less what we're doing on the chart, because it is an ETF. So IWM, if you wanna be short again, I'm gonna have to say hi, IWM. And get back involved. Tesla's
putting a bit of a hammer candle here. I know you said you didn't want to stay with it, but I guess I'm cruising for a bruising today, right? So I'm gonna jump into the Cybertruck here, and I'll have. Well, we'll see. I mean, the candle hasn't closed, so I'm kind of front running it a little bit. So we'll wait and see. And the other trade that I've got on that I have a little bit more hopes for, that I think I might be losing out on, is this dip trade on CXAI. So this the whole idea here was for it to come back and test 590, but it looks like it's gonna go. So it did come back into 594. So I was a little too aggressive. I didn't even put it at 590. I put it at 592. So I was off by a couple of pennies, and this one's just skyrocketing to the top there. Here comes 615 on CXAI, now running about almost 24%. I really wanted to get this one on a dip, but alas, it was not to be. So we'll have to wait and see if we can bamboozle or weasel another entry into this name. But yeah, great look on CXAI. Let me just double check that there's no headline on this. You all right there, Ram? Ram's coughing up a storm back there. If one of us is sick tomorrow, you guys know who patient zero is. So CXAI apparently really started running April 1st. I guess I wasn't here for that. So April 1st, a big day.
Had a Google Catalyst. Yeah, it collaborated with the Google Cloud for some integration.
That makes more sense. Okay, that makes more sense. This is what I'm talking about over here on CXAI. If I can bring this in and then zoom out to the 30-minute. Yeah, this big move here, April 1st. Thanks, Adara, for letting me know there. 250. We were trading at 250, and then we just shot up into that $7 area. So CXAI definitely benefiting from that Google range. Now, we did break above that third day play, let's call it, above 550. So 550 was the top there that we couldn't break through either on Friday, and then right back into above 6 we go. So we'll have to wait and see if this one can fill the dip on that 590 area. Otherwise, we'll have to figure out something else. But Tesla looks like it's going against me here. Move back to TSLA, not by much. Still above that $0.50 area. For breaks 172.5, that's where I'm cutting it, baby.
Hopefully you don't have to. Hopefully the Cybertruck will
not.
continue trucking. You know, that roadster going 0 to 100 to the upside. Also, thank you to Henry Chung saying Elon Musk interview on X is now live.
Oh wow,
so
that's why we're
Henry
moving
for that
here.
update. That could be why we got. Oh yeah, that Tesla did have a little bit of a drop there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so TSLA, I guess not TSLA right now. But I think that could be an interesting look. NVIDIA, I kept saying I was going to consider shorting this guy, and then I kept ignoring him. So let me go turn my attention back to N to the V to the D to the A. To me, this is a nice short, but like I said, I like trading NVIDIA off the 1 minute because, and the reason for that is I will still look at overwhelming trends in the 5 and the 3, but if I'm trading NVIDIA, I want to see what we did right that moment because A, I don't send that long in trades to begin with, and B, on NVIDIA, you kind of want to know the here, the now, and the why.
Oh yeah.
Right, because I feel like the 5 minute, the 10 minute is helpful for general trends, but I don't want to be in NVIDIA if I don't know exactly what she's doing at every second of every day or moment. So let's see what happens here in the NVDA. Probably missed my short opportunity, but if we keep having these lower highs and lower lows, I just need to keep reminding myself, hey, Adara, you're still interested. So we have to keep an eye on that for sure. Google, though, also kind of a short that I like in the same vein. This is off the 1 minute, but Google, I think, more than NVIDIA, I think you can kind of look at whatever time frame because you do have generally this trend, lower highs, lower lows, rejecting off the 9 EMA. This is another one I should be keeping my peepers on. I should have my goggles on for goggle, as Obi has started calling this one. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to Google search for some points of entry there. IWM still giving you about 10 pennies of range there on the short side, so that's another one I will be watching out for. Yeah, I don't have a read on much. If there's anything people are looking at, definitely let me know. I've basically only been trading, for whatever reason, large caps and IWM, so if there's anything else on the horizon that people are saying, hey, this is a good look, definitely let us know because I want to see what else is happening here. This Boeing, though, also a nice short. We had these lower highs. I drew this out. I don't love what I was drawing here. I think this looks like I could probably adjust this line a little bit. But we are having lower highs, lower lows here on the Boeing, which unfortunately sounds like maybe some of its planes as well, lower highs and lower lows. But yeah, no, all jokes aside, it is unfortunate that every weekend or so I feel like we're hearing another story with regards to Boeing. Now there's an engine cover situation with a takeoff for Southwest. So yeah, I mean, Boeing. Gotta get it together.
I know, honestly. I just pulled up that Elon thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it is live right now. I just can't listen to it. So hopefully when Neil starts dropping hot lines, I'll adjust that. But yeah, it's live right now on X. Elon, I guess he's in a discussion right now with another individual by the name of Nikolai Tangen. He's the host. Elon is the co-host. And so that's happening right now. What is it called? X, that audio thing on X, whatever it's called. I forget. Spaces or something like that?
Neil's actually ready right now, though.
Is he? Okay, yeah, sorry, my
So
head.
we will
said it's
switch
not
over
working.
to
Yeah.
see what the lesson of the day is with Real Deal Neil.
Welcome. You see gap trades every single day. So how can we take advantage of them? How can you refine your trading strategies? Because when you're looking for things that are active in the market, probably the first thing most people do is what is gapping up, what is gapping down. It's the go-to just in terms of if I know nothing, if I don't know a single news story that's happening in the market, if I have no idea what stock I want to trade, or anybody for that matter, then you go and look at any kind of a scanner and show me a bunch of things which are detached from their price levels the day before, and it's the easiest hint that something is going on. But one of the biggest problems about a big gap to the upside or the downside, and you've probably heard this before, is some of the time those gaps like to get filled. And you can get into a lot of trouble when you're playing gap trades if you're married to the notion that if something gaps up, it's a long, something gaps down, it's a short. It's never quite that simple, trust me. That's just not how the market's going to give it to you. So I want to make sure that we have a good idea of how to approach these, because it's going to be in your toolbox for any kind of a momentum trader, and you're not going to ignore stocks that have gapped up or gapped down. First things first, I like to define what is an actual gap move, and if something just happens to be higher or lower than the day before, it might not be considered a quote-unquote gapper. So I'm going to use an extreme example to make an obvious point, starting with something like Amara here. So over the weekend, basically everything crypto was gapping to the upside. And when you close down at 1840, and you're going to end up in the pre-market up at 1960, that's a good 5%-ish type move and change. That's clearly going to hit a lot of scanners and be interesting. But what makes this, in my opinion, a good gap to look at in the first place is it's not just that it's higher. Imagine this had gapped up and it was at 1910 or so. Yes, that's a gap up, but it's not even higher than a resistance that was just there the previous trading day. In this particular case, it's gapping past that resistance level, and that puts it onto your radar. But remember, take a step back, fundamentally, what does that gap mean? There's not a lot of volume in the aftermarket. It's not zero, and it's not zero in the pre-market either. But when you have a print go off, let's say at 19.5 at 6 a.m. in the morning, and let's say someone buys 100 shares, that's obviously going to pale in comparison to the thousands of shares that are going on when the live market is open. So you might have trades going off at those new prices, but it's a small amount of volume. And all of the big institutional order flow and big heavy trade volume is going to come after that open. There's something to remember in the overall market. The vast majority of gains, and this is just true, it's true in the Qs, it's true in the SPY, the majority of gains over time actually happen in the aftermarket. And gaps tend to be a big part of movement over sometimes what you see during the day. So you want to ensure that when the gap happens, when the market opens up, there's still strength in that stock to support those new levels. And like I said, and use an example that's extreme to make a point, and that would be MAR. It's not rocket science. You see the gap to the upside, it would be easy to say, okay, well, it closed at 1840, it's got support. Who cares about that? It gapped above a resistance level at 1925, and then it's consolidating above that price. Before I think this is a continuation play, I want to see strength off of that level. And this is an area where you just didn't see it at all, so it's easy to say it tried to hold above. Right at the open, it fell underneath, and I would favor the short at that particular point. But I do want to show you an example where you might find one that is a bit of a long. So here's a different gap. In Coinbase, which is in the same space, it gaps up, you go to a previous resistance level, and then at the open, now I was looking for longs, did not get the early long, it happens. But in this particular case, this gap fill, attempted gap fill, tries to break through the previous resistance, it's clearly a big up gap, and then it holds. That's an example of a good continuation setup, because when the market opened up and it attempted to fill in the gap and people were taking their profits overnight, there was enough buying strength in this particular case to have it then go higher. So it tried to break the lows, so there was definitely some selling at the open, immediately jumped, and then immediately made a higher low. So there's your sign of strength. Now, whether or not you're just one of those, I'm sitting on the bid out in front of 50, or you're trying to catch a stair step up, maybe you grab that kind of a long. But what it did for me is it signaled strength. Because when it then retested the low, and if you don't have that trade there, when it retested the 250 level, which I had as another key price level, it was worth it for me to try a long bounce because I felt this had strength despite the fact that it had already made a decent top. So you have two names which were both running and gapping up related to crypto, one of which immediately found no buyers at the open and relative weakness, so stay away if not look short, and the other one showed you pretty clearly here at the open that you had a bit of a gap and then a hold and a continuation play. It's a simple thing, but when you're looking every single morning at 10 gappers and small caps here and there and a couple of big caps, and maybe you're gonna have some chip names in there as well, continuously gapping up and down, you do want to ensure that just because something is a big percentage move doesn't automatically mean it's gonna be stronger. You want to see those types of indicators that there's buyers above that previous resistance. There's buyers at the open that aren't going to try to fill in that crazy gap to the upside. It's so easy to catch yourself off guard. And we've all been there. Obviously, it's one of these things where if you've been trading, you trade gappers every single day. I'm going to give you another example, but this one I'm leaving for last on Tesla because of why this is an even better play. Now, it might not have ripped $10. I'll grant you that. Like Tesla, even from 71 where it came in, like I think the high was like 74. So it's only about 2%. We've seen Tesla do much more than that. But when this gapped up, and clearly it gapped to previous resistance level, it then tried to fill in, actually went halfway. And this is the pre-market. There were sellers in the pre-market. It got right back up, put in a resistance for previous resistance, and then sellers came back in to hold the same level. What's great about this is the multitude of setups that this one provided you. So throw out the fact that it already had a wipeout bottom the trading day before. You have a clear and obvious 171 level that you can see is key. It was key the day before, it was key the day before that, it was resistance in the pre-market. But then on top of that, you then get the added information of sellers in the pre-market pulling it down into 68, which held. And then right at the open, they try to sell through 68 to fill in this gap underneath, and then it holds the 68. So at that point, you have one opportunity for a long off 68. If you don't get that, then the 171 level's in play, and you see it sort of stair step to the upside. And again, it just comes down to splitting these things into relative strength and relative weakness. A gap up, what is the response? It was clean in Coinbase that it just gapped up, held, and went higher. It was clean in the example I gave with Mar that it gapped up, immediately came down, started to fill in the gap, and was weaker. Tesla is in the middle here. It gaps up, pulls back to a middle, then holds the middle by the open, and then gives you the trend trade. So you've got to be flexible in terms of your thinking. You always want to drop things into categories if you can in different subsets of trades. The gap trade is no different. If you just treat every single gap up or down in the same lens, you're going to miss those nuances that are out there available for you so that you can avoid some trades that aren't going to work and so that you can focus on the ones that set up almost perfectly for your strategy. And it all comes with being specific. So not every gapper is alike. No two gappers are going to be alike. Make sure you follow these kinds of plans so that when you evaluate what you want to trade on those big gappers, you can identify the best trades. That's your lesson of the day. Trade your gappers, but make sure you're in the right one.
Thank you very much, Neil. Informative and eloquent as always. Thank you very much for that. While Neil was dropping hot lines, CXAI decided to do things, as Adair likes to say. This was the level that we were talking about right before Neil got on in his lesson of the day. We were talking about that $5.90 area, and there's a reason for that. It's because it was a previous top. These small cap gappers, they just have this habit of loving to retest previous areas of resistance. We didn't get it first time around, but I left that order out. I'm like, all right, what do I have to lose? Going to sit there at 590, and you know, let's see if we get the dip trade, and we did. So did actually break down below $6. Got bottom wick at 590. We've been able to wet our beak here three times actually. Best print so far, 614. Guys, I am in the sim today. I want to make that very clear. Just getting you know, our feet wet again, and hopefully we'll be back.
Beak's wet.
My beak wet, yeah, but that's profit. That's profit.
That's true.
Yeah, we're getting warmed up. And then hopefully we'll be back in the game tomorrow. But I'm looking for this one to possibly test 6.25. And if we really get parabolic here, we'll look for 6.5. This one had a great week last week, and it looks like we're getting the best day on CXAI since April 1st. All right, we've been kind of in a range all of last week. If you zoom out, have a look at the 30-minute chart on CXAI, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've broken through April 3rd's top, which was basically 560. We blew through that and are breaking through $6. So maybe we'll get some more prints here. I'm going to put something at 20s. We'll put something at 20s here while we start doing the lesson. That if it makes its way up there, we'll get printed. Yeah, let's get right to that. So we're talking about range trading all week. Introduction into range trading is the lesson of the day. Thank you to Adara for putting this together. Tomorrow we'll be getting into some more nuanced range trading topics, but for today we're going to do some introduction. So let's get right to that. So the basics, right? Let's get into that. When an asset is trading, guys, within a defined support and resistance level, it is said to be trading within a range. So again, like the example I gave earlier in the show, that $200 level on Apple could be considered the high side, the top end of the range, and that 165-ish or thereabouts could be considered the bottom end of the range. Go ahead and have a look at what the daily or the weekly looks there on Apple. Ranges, though, they often form during what we call periods of consolidation, which are sideways price action movement. And these periods can either be brief or prolonged. You're going to have to look at the chart and make your assessment there. And the ranges are fractal, guys. You can basically find them in various different time frames, including the minute, the hourly, the daily, or the weekly charts. Something that Adara and I always say on the show, you know, everything that we talk about, whether what are they called?
Pattern?
Yeah,
Channels?
thank you. Chart patterns, candlestick patterns, technical indicators, you name it. They're all fractal. You can use them on the hourly, you can use them on the 1 minute, but one little tidbit to keep in mind when you do that is that the lower on the time frame you go, if you switch from an hourly or a 4 hour to a minute, the failure rate of whatever you're using will increase. So they work on all time frames. However, you have to view them with more suspicion the lower down the time frame you go. Okay, and here's a great graphic showing candlestick ranges and trading ranges. Thank you again to Adara putting that in. You can see the high end there where there looks like there's no pattern, but in fact there is. There's a top end and a bottom end. So what are you looking for these range trades? I mean, very good question here. And when searching for a range trade, you should keep an eye out for stocks that have defined, repetitive support and resistance levels. So defined and repetitive. As discussed on previous installments of How to Trade, the more time an asset or whatever you're trading, an instrument, touches a level, the more significant that level may be. Again, go back and have a look at that 200 level on Apple. Every time it comes into that 200 level, selling, it's met with a lot of selling, and it does reject off that level, okay? Also, check to see if support and resistance levels have been significant in the past. Are they previous support and resistance level from earlier in the day or a previous day? Did the price action hold up or bounce off at that particular level on the last week or so? If it's closer by, it may be worth more of a look. Okay, is this an opening or closing level as well? Very interesting question as well. Are we seeing resistance at the high of the day? All good questions to ask yourself there. And this graphic is pointing out obvious areas of support and resistance on the euro and the yen 30-minute time frame there. So how do you plan this trade? If you're trading at the bottom end of the range, your plan may be to go long at the bottom end of the range and take profits as the asset price nears the top end of the range. So you're looking to get long on the bottom and cover at the top. Conversely, if you're feeling bearish or the market may be bearish on that day, you may plan a short at the top end of the range. Traders who short the top end of the range will opt to take profit as the price nears the bottom of the range, or what we call the support area. And here's another very good graphic to describe that. Again, you're looking here at that 141.5 for a short, or that 140 2/3 for a long, okay? And some factors to consider when you're getting in. So be cognizant of the overarching trend. Have we been going up and to the right or down and to the right the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month? Are we consolidative during that time? Is there a predefined range? Is this good? Is this a good environment for range trading, or are we too directional to try to find range trades? These are all good questions to ask yourself before engaging in a range trade, right? It may be riskier to short the top end of the range like we just described, because the stock may be consolidating before the breakout. Remember that week on accumulation and distribution? Oftentimes accumulation by big institutions hides itself as a consolidative sideways movement, where basically bigger money is positioning in at the lower end of the range, waiting for that eventual breakout, and that's where the beak wetting starts for some of these people, right? So be cognizant of that. And consider your risk to reward metrics before entering a range trade. If the range, for example, is 10 pennies, you're taking and you're risking 20 pennies, the trade may not make sense from a risk to reward ratio. Always keep in mind the size of the range, which is your potential profit, obviously, in relation to your risk. Obviously, you know, for the more parabolic names, you don't want to get in too much. Otherwise, you could find yourself on the wrong end of that trade. So hope that helps. All right, let's flip back to some of the trades that we have here. So it looks like we made our way, Chilean Nightmare, into that 60-90 area, guys. On CXAI, we have a beak wetter hanging out at 620, so we're 1 penny off from getting filled there. But what I do see here is a series of higher lows. You may not be getting that necessarily parabolic movement that we did off that 5.5 into 6, but you're definitely seeing a trend form here, which is a succession of higher lows. So I like this. I'm going to continue to hold on to it. I want to wet my beak at 620, and then I think we can move into maybe even 650 or so, owing to what we traded at last week. And I should mention to you guys, $7 is definitely a resistance level I'm looking at very real here, because, well, that was the top end of the range on April 1st when the headline with Google broke. So keep your eye on that if you're going to trade CXAI.
Yeah, you have to keep your CXAI on that. I have to. Yeah, I'm sure you were like so happy to be in a pun-free jungle or a pun-free safari for the week.
All good, all good.
But yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, I'm out of NVIDIA, or I'm out Vidya, as I should say, and I'm pleased as punch. Like I was talking about this, you know, last week someone was joking about how I have a love-hate relationship with NVIDIA in the chat. And I mean, yeah, I used to, because I would want to get involved because it can provide, we were just talking about risk and reward in that range lesson, but I think with NVIDIA, a lot of times the risk outnumbers the reward. So what I did to kind of make it more palatable for myself for trading was to trade off the 1 minute. And to me, obviously not perfect, nothing is perfect, but it has worked a little bit better, and I want to talk about it. So I got involved here, 870 60s. I was noticing these lower highs, lower lows. Then I added just above this 871s, about the top wick at the time, so I was pretty happy with where I added this. Got some out at 870. Plan was to save a piece for the dream for this breakdown we're now having, so I was a little bit too hasty. Shout out to the Spice Girls, I guess, there. But then I wanted to add, I should have added again at 871. I didn't. I ended up getting out everything at 870. So I want to reflect on this trade. What I could have done better was adding it at 871 and then saving a piece for La Dream, for the slumber, for that dream here, as we broke down below 869. So I definitely want to reflect on the areas that I could have done better, but I'm also proud of the trade. So I think it's a nice little balance of, you know, being happy with it while also recognizing nobody's perfect, and you can always do better. But everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody feels that way. Shout out to Hannah Montana. But yeah, this
Ram's pumped about that, eh? Okay.
That was like the song of a certain era. But yeah, this Tesla here, this is interesting. We bounce off that previous resistance here, 172.50. I should have been getting involved there. I know you had some beak waters in that before the chat began. Also, someone tell me how this is going in Tesla space. Shout out to Chef Joe and Henry Chung letting us know that apparently the spaces were down a little bit. Not sure if it came back up. So if anyone has an update here, I'm seeing.
That's happened before.
Oh, it's live on the X. He's speaking in the space now.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's back. But yeah, that's.
Remember when DeSantis was announcing his presidential run?
Oh, yeah.
And he did it on X and it was down for like ever?
I forgot about that.
Remember that? Okay.
Also, we did get a super chat from Richardson. And it was a €3.49. And I do not see a message here, so if there is a message, let us know. What I'm seeing is a cute little dog emoji. So much appreciated. Thank you very much for the super chat, for your support, Richardson. Hope everybody in the chat's having a final time over here because, I mean, yeah, I think it's nice to have Sharif back here from the Safari. These markets certainly giving some opportunities. Microsoft, much like NVIDIA, seeing these lower highs, lower lows. But if we bounce off, I was saying short, but now I'm like, if this is a really defined double bottom. So that's why when Neil says, when in doubt, zoom out. Right now, my doubt about the short is look at this double bottom. I will be waiting to short this to see what we do at for this 420 area. If we break above this decisively, this could be a long. If we reject it, it's going to still be lower highs and lower lows, and it's still going to be a short. Oh, thank you so much, Richardson. $11.99. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work. Trading alongside watching your show makes it way more entertaining, and by that, easier to be patient.
Oh, that's
good. Heart. Thank you very much. We heart you, and we really we thank you so much for 100%. Your support. Yeah, patience is certainly, I can attest. I have, I can't always pack my patience. So, yeah, happy to be able to be here trading alongside everybody. I don't have my eye on much else right now.
Yeah, I can talk about some stuff.
TSAI? Yeah.
It's good, but there's another couple of small gap gappers, Adair, that decided to get going here midday. They go by the tickers ETAO. Big move up off that 241 low into 729 high. Tanking right now, though. V-shaped retracement. That's why we give these ones the moniker of small cap crappers, because, they seem to defecate the bed. And 729 high right there. Now we're trading at 489, breaking through 5 aggressively. So as quickly as we made our way up, as quickly as make our way down. Up 94%, 95%, so nothing to disrespect at these levels, but yeah, keep your eye on that. The other one, this one is still doing the dance here with $1. SMFL got off that 52.40 low, 52 pennies I'm talking about, broke through $1.05 high. It's up 102%. It's doing the dance with no pants right now with that $1 area. In case you're wondering, I always adjust my scanners that I keep my eye on for the big movers on the day. I filter them so that they don't show anything below 85 pennies. And the reason I've chosen 85 pennies was actually a suggestion. I think it was either the Katina man or the Neil made to me. I can't remember exactly who, but it was like you want to have your eye on that stock before it reaches $1 because there is a trade to be had there, whether long or short, possibly off $1. So that necessitated me to change my limit from $1, which was the low end of my limit, to 85 pennies. And that's helped me see some of these ones that are making their way into $1. I'm talking about SMFL right now. Nice move up, $1.07, new high a day while I was talking right now. You're not going to see me chase this at these levels. I'd like for it to take $1 here, but I'm not going to put a dip trade at $1 either, because it hasn't proven to me enough yet that it is going to maintain that $1 level and defend it. So I'm unsure exactly of what it's going to do, so I'm going to hang tight. And if it goes without me, it goes without me. That's just kind of the game there. So let's keep an eye on SMFL. Let's also keep an eye there, nice, on CXAI. So we did break above that 620, so now we have half the position out, okay? But look what it's doing. It's coming back into 6. So as quickly as we were able to make another high of day on CXAI, as quickly as we were able to give up the ghost at the whole dollar level. I'm long 91, so I have a bit of a buffer between the whole dollar level and my entry, which is great, right? because you don't want to be, you know, forced into a level to stop out that you're not entirely convinced with. So let's see what this one does. We got the print at 20s. We're fighting right now to stay above the whole dollar level. I got to tell you, though, my line in the sand is going to be my entry. And it's not just because it's my entry, but it is the level that I like as an area of support. It was an obvious area of resistance earlier on. I'm talking specifically about that 11:15 time slot. It rejected off that area, tanked back into the volume-weighted average price. I'm talking about CXAI. And then it reclaimed that level with viciousness and then came back and defended it. So that's what I want to see. So if this breaks below 590, that's my line in the sand on CXAI. We'll have to wait and see what that one does. But as I look at the corner of my eye, SMFL is going, baby. 111 high now. This one's moving here. And I didn't give you guys any deets on SMFL, so let me do that right now. Adara, it has a staggering market cap. I've never seen anything so big. $860,000 market cap.
I thought you, that was good sarcasm.
I know.
Took me a second there.
868,000, sub 1 million market cap. All right, so I'm just telling you. The float, 774,000 shares. So 750,000 shares on SMFL. Yeah, I got to tell you, be careful trading this one. You could find yourself on the wrong end of it real quick. Here's the headline, guys. Smart for Life shares are trading higher after the company announced it would acquire Purely Optimal Nutrition. I think I use Smart for Life protein.
Really?
I get it from Costco.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like $50, right? Which is, you know, not bad for a 2.5, is it kilogram? Yeah, 2.5 kilograms of protein.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, yeah.
I also like that both their brand and the one they acquire have the most like on the nose names, like Smart for Life. It can be smart, and then also what was that second one, the nutrient one? They're both like super, like they're very like they tell you exactly how it is, and I love it. You have Smart for Life, and then Purely Optimal Nutrition. So you know what kind of nutrition will it be? You know it's gonna be purely optimal. I like it. I like the very direct branding. But yeah, I also like NVIDIA, although right now I'm not liking that we're about to make a higher high here. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on this. I did take some of this out, so I was pleased as punch to take some of this out as we dipped back into that 869.50 area. If NVIDIA keeps failing 871, I'm gonna add a little bit here. But right now it looks like we were really poised to get a little bit higher, which honestly, if NVIDIA sings, can we get much higher? I'll have to say, no, no.
Oh,
no, no, no. So maybe we're killing it with these cans. do. But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of, that's my take on that in all seriousness. And thank you, Sheree, for joining in with me on that. But yeah, we just added to this position. We're gonna be trying to get out, like I said, around that just shy of 870 area. If NVIDIA wants to give us that, I would be, say it with me, please, just punch. So they'll just be taking out the whole position there because I think this range is falling off a little bit. We are seeing these higher highs, higher lows, which honestly, we do not want this to get much higher. So that's what I have in NVDA. What is everyone else looking at? Because I want to see what else is happening in these markets. I want to take another look at BA, Black Sheet. How you any longs? Oh, actually, yeah. Honestly, yeah, Boeing is, I'm just laughing at Sharif. Pulling up a little bit here. And I like this area because look at this previous support area, 182.60, right? If we reject on this 182.60, it actually might be a short. So we might have to say yes, sir, to this, yeah, I keep making nursery rhyme jokes apparently, to this short off of Boeing at that 182.60 area because we do have these lower highs, lower lows. We are breaking above that 9 EMA, but that will be the area I will be watching for a short on B to the A. We'll have to see if this one falls off to the downside. What are you doing?
Good, man. SMFL just rocketed through $1, $1.25 HOD now, 138%. Careful with this one, guys. I don't know. Look, I wasn't here last week, so I don't know the exact state of small caps at the moment, but you guys know that there is a cyclicality to these small caps. When they come in waves in triple-digit winners, they seem to come like 2, 3 per day. So could this be the one that kind of starts it off? I know we already have a couple other in triple-digit territory. We have ETAO and we have that AUUD. They're all in triple-digit territory. So they usually come in waves, these guys. Now, how do we play this, though? I mean, that's really the most important part. I'd like a defend of 1. I may not get the definitive one because it's skyrocketing. There's a new high a day, $1.26 now, 150% here, SMFL going. So unless it's a dip trade, I'm not taking it, right? Now, it could be a dip trade off a defined level, right? It could be a 10 EMA. It could be whatever. It could be the whole dollar level. But this thing is away from everything at the moment. I can't, it's not near anything. And this is what you're looking at here is the 5-minute on SMFL. So you got the 10-period EMA sub $1. It's at 95 pennies. So I can't get in there unless it moves up because I need the definitive one. Then you have obviously that $1 level that you could take a dip trade off. So we'll see if that ends up materializing. But I'll tell you one thing. If this ends up being a reversal candle, a hammer, whatever, the inverse hammer candle, I don't think I'm going to want to punch long whether it holds one or not. This is not the candle you want to see. That is ugly, ugly, and that is yelling reversal. So we'll see if this reverses. But typically when you see a big boy reversal, a Christmas tree retracement, as Randy calls it, sometimes it's precipitated by a candle that looks awfully close to this one, especially on the 5. So here comes one. It's doing the dance here with 104, 103, 102, generally in that vicinity. Does it hold one here? And should I be dip trading at 1, maybe 101, 102 with a tight stop, maybe 98 pennies, 97 pennies? Give myself 5 pennies worth of risk. Well, I know for a fact it went up to 126. So if it at least touches high, well, then that's what? A 1 to 5 ratio. Risk 5 pennies, make 25. So we'll see what this one does here. I hate this candle over here, but I like the fact that it's holding above 1. SMFL could be an interesting small cap gapper to trade here. Let's now flip back and have a look at the other trade that we're involved in right now. So we didn't get stopped at a CXAI. So funny enough, I had my stop right below this entry, and look, lo and behold, yet again, it holds up at 590. So 590 proving, for whatever reason, to be that area of support, previously resistance, at least for now. Underline that, for now. Because, you know, these small cap gappers have a way of just flipping the script on you midday and making you look like a dang fool, especially if you do a trading show, right? So, yeah, we're keeping eyes on that right now. I'm also keeping eyes on ETAO. Now, I know this breaks my rule a little bit, and let me explain myself here. You've heard me say a zillion times I don't trade small cap gappers unless they're trading above the volume weighted average price. But look what this one did. Beautiful hold off the 20, right? And then it kind of looks like it was trying to defend 5, maybe 475 or thereabouts. Makes its way up to 575. I think this would be a great area of decision whether to take this short or wait for a break above that area long and break through 6. So ETAO, potentially giving you another opportunity here. Let me look at my gap scanner, see if there's anything popping off at the moment other than these bad boys. No, CXAI I already talked about, obviously, and then the other one is PTN, but that's doing bupkis. So yeah, we'll continue to watch that. Let's see what these large caps are doing. I haven't been talking about large caps in a second. Softies, absolutely back up, tanking. Yeah, back into that 424 area. So Softy did a nice double bottom here for whoever was interested off these levels. So the pivots that we had on Softy ended up acting as a support level earlier at that IB low at 930, and then yet again here at 1220. So that 323, let's say 323 and a half, 323 and a quarter ends up being an obvious area of support on Microsoft on the day. Bit of a double bottom right now, but I would be really hesitant to think that this is going to move parabolically through 425, which is the 425 and a half, which is the closing print from Friday. So Softy, double bottom, but yeah, a bit, I don't want to say range bound, but we'll see. We'll give this one opportunities. I like the look on Softy here. Very definitive double bottom. I don't see as much. Is definitiveness a word?
I feel like I've heard it, but I don't. I'm going to double check this one.
Is definitiveness a word? Definitiveness.
I am seeing definitions.
All right, cool. We'll go there.
According to Merriam-Webster, it's as in definitiveness. Yeah, let me see. So the definition, serving to provide a final solution or to end a situation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, adjective,
like
derivative
it.
of definitive.
All right, there we go.
There we go.
I know.
Or it's the noun, so it's the noun version of definitive.
It's not like words are found in nature. They don't grow off trees or come out of the grass.
They're molded.
Everything is made up.
Yeah.
Right?
They're like sculpted like clay, you know?
Right?
Which is why we love made up words here on
Always.
Trade.
Always have a home on this show, baby. What do you got over there? I see triangles.
Yeah, these are some these are a little bit more older. These are my Tesla trades, but we're trying to make another triangle happen on this chart. Mark my words, Sharif.
Oh.
We want to get involved. I said that a little aggressively, sorry, but I want to get involved here at this previous range of Tesla. We had this support. I missed this earlier. That previous resistance here at that 172.50. Then it came into support. That's when I should have gotten long. I missed it. I have no one to blame for that for myself. Then I also missed the short, but I was like, Dara, if we see support here again, you owe it to yourself to get involved. We did, and so I have gotten involved, that is.
I like it.
So thank you, I appreciate it. Let's see how this goes. I will not be staying in this any longer than that 173.30 area. That has just been, to me, I think, kind of the acme of this guy within his little range for quite some time. Obviously, it's not the high of day, but within, especially given that this one is falling off a little bit. We're not cyber trucking to the upside the way we were earlier, so I do want to be cognizant of that. I do not want to give him any more room to run beyond those 80 pennies, but we are going to have a beak winner earlier than that because we want to clinch some profits. Why not? We're going to be getting out some of this 172, just shy of 173, and then the piece for the dream shall be saved for 173.30. There we go. Just try to proofread my trades. That's why I took a moment to press that there. We're trying to get better about the fat fingering. Also, NVIDIA. We're still positive on this name, but yeah, we did lose a little bit on that one. I should have gotten out of this a little bit earlier. I waited to see the decisive break at the 872 before I got out. Still happy I got out where I did, but I should have really not added to this. I think I might have been a little bit overzealous because I was like, oh, I missed on the ad earlier. But you know what? It is what it is. All I can do is learn from it. What I learned from it is, Adara, if your plan is to scalp and you're talking about NVIDIA, just scalp the darn thing. So there we go. That's what I'm going to take away from that. Still proud that I was able to navigate this, and I'm positive on the day in general, but also in NVIDIA. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Always.
And that's tough to trade too.
Thank you. I mean, I'm proud with what I did. I'm just a little bit upset that I overshot the landing on that last trade, but you know what? All I can do is learn from that. I'm the type of person where sometimes when things go a little bit awry, you like to use it as motivation, right? And so that's what we're gonna do. Use this as motivation. I'm gonna stay away from NVIDIA for now, just because I don't really have a clear read on it the way that I did in these earlier trades. So we're gonna let her do her thing, 21, for the time being. Right now, my entire focus is on Tesla. Yeah. And I mean, you kind of have to be obsessed with Tesla if you're going to be trading this name. Thank you, appreciate that. I see you are short the Qs. I
am. I'm looking for defend or reject, not a defend, sorry, of 18.3 or thereabouts. I'm going to give it to the volume weighted average price, which is at 18.309. But we were doing the wick shimmy dance from the south side, which precipitated me to get into the short. But I have one regret, and that's chasing this rather than putting a resting order at 18.3 to short. And obviously, that's the price I wanted, and that would give me a better cost basis. So if it ends up going against me, I would only lose about 9 points rather than whatever I'm going to be down now if this ends up triggering. So it's one thing I've been trying to remind myself. I like levels with respect to a trend trade, but I don't want to chase them. I'd rather have dip trades off levels that I like kind of like what I did with CXAI. If that means missing the trade, then that's fine. Then I miss the trade. And that's kind of why I decided to get into the sim today. I really want to press upon myself that I don't want to chase things. That's when I review my trades and I end up seeing the trades that I did the most poorly on. They weren't necessarily bad ideas to get into those trades, but they were bad entries. And the main thing that I noticed about them was most of them I was chasing because they were moving quickly, right? I got a whole bunch of FOMO. I didn't want to take it out at that area. I didn't want to get in, at a lower area because I thought maybe it wouldn't retrace to it. But if it ends up going, if you end up missing trade, you end up missing trade. At least you don't end up getting rinsed on it, especially if you have to work with a shutdown. And that's what we're doing here on the prop floor. We have a shutdown that we have to respect. And the idea there is to obviously try to get it at the best price so that you're not shut down. So keeping an eye here at 18.3, it looks like, we are going to move above that volume weighted average price. If we do, that's going to be the end of my trade there. But I do really like a possible short coming up here, namely because a lot of these Mag 7 names that are coming into areas of resistance that they've been on the day. Look at Apple coming into that 168.80 where the volume weighted average price is. Likewise with Amazon coming into that 186 area. So if we get a rejection here, be great. It would be a rejection of 18.3 and a perfunctory break of it and then move back down. We'll see. We'll see if we get that. Otherwise, we're going to take a hit on it. The one that I do like, though, to the long side and may be having an effect right now on boosting this market above 18.3 is Google. Look at this. We were disrespecting this one earlier for having that nice big move and then becoming awfully consolidative. And then it really gave up the ghost there and broke down below 155 and then held 154. But there we go, right back above 154.5 we go, and looks like we're on our way here possibly into 155 yet again. So Google waking up here midday, looking to make a nice big move up. Well, not big move, maybe like 80 pennies, $1 off that local low. I'm talking about this local low over here on Goggles. Apparently it's what it's being called now on the show. What else we got over here? Let's flip back into some of these small cap gappers, see if anything's moving out and about. What do we got? What do we got? SMFL breaking below $1, so that topping tail candle, that inverse hammer candle ended up being exactly what we thought it was, but this one you're gonna have to secure shorts for, so a bit of a tougher trade there. ETAO also breaking down aggressively below the volume weighted average price, but trying to hold up above 5. The reason I mentioned SMFL and ETAO, because these were two small cap gappers that just showed up midday. So we'll keep eyes on that, see if we can get anything out of them midday.
Yeah, I'm trying to get, well, I'm not trying to get out of anything. I'm trying to get into this Boeing. I was joking my Baba Black Sheep thing, but honestly, I do like this short. I talked about that 60s area. Look where we're struggling to get above. It's 182.60.
Ooh.
So let's see if we get filled here. This one a little bit spready. So this might be a problem here, but hopefully Boeing can get off the landing here and we can enter this short. I will be getting out if we get this chop and churn area. I want to see what we do around these 182.90s. Profit shall be taken around 182. Said that very dramatic. Part fill. Let's go. We got this. You know what? I'm happy with this amount of shares. We're going to cancel the rest of it. Let's see how we do in TSL to the A. Tesla, how are you doing, girl? Yeah, Tesla is kind of hanging out. It's not really doing anything here. The one thing that I am being very cognizant of with Tesla is this previous support area might be turning into resistance. That's something to keep an eye on. But like I said, not getting out unless we break, or I don't know if I said this earlier actually, but I'm getting out if we fail 172, because that was a clear, to me, area of support earlier. It's also a whole dollar level. It also gives me 50 pennies of risk. I'm trying to get 80 pennies reward. So I think that's a fair risk to reward ratio. That's something I'm trying to be more cognizant of with my range trading, as also mentioned in the lesson, which we will get into the last lesson, in 13 minutes, thereabouts. So yeah, so I just, as someone who's also trying to learn to range trade, I think, I'm enjoying kind of mentioning the areas that I kind of look at and are working on. But yeah, so let's see how we do there. Gonna get my profit taker. My first profit taker set up on Boeing. I was talking to Neil this morning in the morning. Wow, Adira. I was talking to Neil this morning in the morning, and he was kind of saying, like, sometimes if you have situations like Tesla last week with that big move, and I'll actually switch to yeah, there we go. So if you have like this type of situation and you're in this short, that's kind of why sometimes you want to save pieces for the dreams in short, right? Like another example was, I was in the Disney short when the vote fell through, and so I didn't save a piece for the dream. If I had, it could have gotten an extra $1.
What happened?
Not fell through, but when Nelson Peltz was like, I should have worded that.
The vote, I thought you said boat.
The vote.
Oh, I heard boat. I don't know why. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that would be a very dark boat-related story.
Well, because they have a cruise line.
Oh,
what are you
that's true
about?
too. I'm so sorry.
I thought you meant that. I was like, I thought you were doing one of your puns, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I should just be more enunciating.
Oh, it's all good. It's probably because, I'm just getting back.
Oh, good. Yeah, I appreciate it. I think it was Monty G saying something to the effect of, sometimes it takes a while to get back. When you leave, I'm paraphrasing. When you go to the market and come back, it's like a whole different world. So,
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
So
yeah.
Makes sense for sure. Right?
Yeah,
I even feel that when we have like 3-day weekends, I'm like, what's this market?
Yeah, Peltzy got shafted last week.
He did, though. Yeah.
Poor Peltzy and his Trian entourage there. But when when by he, I mean Big Bobby Iger, he came out and he had George Lucas
Yeah.
big come out and back him up. That was just like, you know, that was kind of the coup d'etat for me.
Yeah,
Like I was
yeah,
like, okay, you're not, nobody's gonna go against George Lucas here. He's the biggest individual shareholder, this, that, and the other. All right.
He's also the Star Wars guy. Yeah.
Yes, he is. I mean, how many fanboys show up at that guy's house?
Probably a lot.
Yeah,
would
like
assume
people
a
try to
plethora.
sneak in, I've heard, because he has like all the what is it called, Star Wars memorabilia and stuff, all
really?
in that little, he has a ranch apparently in Southern California.
That I did know.
Yeah, and all the Star Wars memorabilia is all like hidden in that ranch, and you got people going up to the gate all the time. Anyway, it's a whole joke. We're rejecting 18.3 here, but not with any vigor. So we're flat on this trade at the moment on this 18.3 rejection. It was a nice bounce off 18.250, but I figured we were doing the shimmy wick dance from the south side of 18.3, and I felt, you know, this might be an interesting short. We'll have to see how this manifests, yeah, interesting trade today on the Mag 7 names. I got to tell you, haven't had a good read on these names today. Haven't traded them poorly, just haven't traded them, period, because I felt, well, I don't have a read. So we'll see what we get here. 18.3, we're doing the dance a little bit below, a little bit above. I don't know how this resolves. I think we're right at Friday's closing print because we did close at 18.3. So many decisions to be made here and so many things that can go one way or another. So we'll see. Ponzi Fonzie, can we ask the turtle what the VW Rabbit GTI trade is, please? Bro, GTI is a good car. Don't disrespect the GTI. Katina, man, were Golf GTIs big? When you, I like the Golf R. The Katina man says he likes the Golf R. Couple of nice ones. Well, the new ones you're talking about? I was talking about during our time in high school. The GTIs were all the rave. Like and you get one and soup it up. It was kind of like a Civic. There were so many aftermarket parts to it. Yeah. What? Yeah. So anyway, the Golf GTI trade is the MNQ short. No, I don't mean that. I actually just joking.
Don't bias Trendla. You're making Trendla seem like a biased participant by saying it's the NQ short.
My bad.
Trendle, he didn't mean it.
Yeah. He's completely objective and sorry. I don't want to say some of the jokes because I'll get canceled, but we're just gonna stay. We're gonna stay polite here, Adara.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. You know, we're all polite to Trenda here, or it's Trenda. Yeah, I would say Trendla, but I think it is Trenda. But yeah, how is the MNQ short going?
We're flat, literally doing nothing. We're at 18.3 exactly, Adara, and we're hanging out at Friday's close, not above, not below. We are below the volume weighted average price, though. So if I had to choose, I mean, we'll see. Was it, aside from the day when Kashkari got on the mic and dropped that hot line about the cuts, were we range bound at all last week? Because I remember when I left the week prior, we were super range bound.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, I was enjoying that. I think the SPY was kind of range bound for a bit. I know I was playing the SPY at one point last week, and I assume if I was playing the SPY last week, I assume it was range bound.
Right.
Just knowing what I'm like. But generally, it felt like the market was super reactive. Like any little thing, it felt like a very sensitive market. Any little thing, it'd be like, so.
Yeah. So it wasn't.
Yeah. To me, it was a little bit less range bound because the week. It was beautiful the week before you left, like that. Oh, that range was like sending you like a little going away present, like just being so range bound. Last week it was kind of a little bit more awry, but yeah, no, it was an interesting week for sure. But yeah, I would say not necessarily range bound. No.
Okay. All right.
That's interesting. I like this.
But like literally doing nothing. Well, we won't harp on that. We'll look at some other stuff. So let's look at some of the other small cap gappers that we were involved in today. So they're all, I mean, look, for the exception of AUUD, because it is hugging the volume weighted average price, they're not tradable for me in my book. Not SMFL, not ETAO, not CADL, or DXYZ. Well, maybe a little bit DXYZ. It's above the volume weighted average price, but I'm not going to trade that. The spread is insane and it's moving insanely. So if you've ever heard me say VWAP hold high of daybreak trade, this is kind of what I'm talking about here with respect to VWAP hold high of daybreak. What I mean by that is a big move up either pre-market or at the bell, and then a consolidation at or above the volume weighted average price. The theory here is that people are continuing to keep this one elevated at VWAP because there's continued interest, with the inference being that when the more liquid time of day comes in, I'm talking about 2:30, 3, this one will bounce off the volume weighted average price and retest the highs, whatever they are. In this case, we're talking about a 570 high. We're trading at 450, 444 right now. That gives you about $1.30, $1.20 with respect to upside moves here. So this one could be interesting for a little bit later of a trade. Now, the strategy with this VWAP hold high of daybreak, from as I understand it, is to build a position up during the less liquid time of day at or near the volume weighted average price. Again, with the inference being, with the idea being that you're going to pop up during the more liquid time of day. And the way to spot these is you have a big move up, so you have an up and to the right move or just an up move, and then you'll have a sideways consolidation period. Sometimes it zigzags, a little bit below VWAP, a little bit above, but generally in that VWAP range. We'll have to wait and see if this one manifests. It's already breaking down below the volume weighted average price. It chose the time I chose to talk about it to break down below VWAP. We're still doing nothing here on the future. 18,303 or 302, we're thereabouts. If we break above 18,310, I'm out.
Isn't it the best when you bring up a stock and right as you start talking about it, it starts like behaving in the opposite way?
I love it. I love it.
What a good time. The stocks are like, oh, we're gonna make you out to be a liar. But yeah, good times. You know, they don't care about your feelings. They certainly don't care. Like, what respect? They're like, we're not a thing. We're a stock. So, also, we did get out of Tesla here. We were struggling. I know I said I saved a piece with a dream for that 173.30, but I had to scalpulate a little bit here. So I did get out 173.10s with the rest of the position. Took some out at 173 as planned. Pleased as punch with how this trade ended up manifesting. We had 3 trades in Tesla so far today. 2 positive, 1 red, positive on the day. So, pretty happy here. Let's take a look at Boeing. I don't know why I said it like that. Yeah, Boeing, I don't like that you just made like a higher high here. Don't love that. Not a fan. Let's see though. I want to see what we do around the 70s area. I think initially, so I did take out some when I noticed we were struggling with 30, so 15 penny winner. Then I added because we were rejecting that 50s area again, and then Boeing was like, let's keep going to the upside. So we're gonna have to see what happens. I'm gonna be like loosey-goosey on this. I'm not gonna try to be too committal. If, like I said, my hard out will be done by the time we get to 82.90s because I do not like this top and churn. But I'll be out earlier if we're continuing to see this move up because I do not like this Sam I am. Not a fan of this. To me, you know, I wanted red because I wanted this short, right? It looks like a little bit of green eggs and ham here. So we're gonna have to, if we get too green on this market, I might have to depart. Also, NVIDIA getting super rangy in a way that I like, again, on my 1-minute chart, because although actually, you know what, I like this, you could see this on the 5 as well, which is always nice. You do want that confirmation in another, you know, you want another time frames too, right? But to me, although it looks like we might be breaking out of it, this is the way this NVIDIA was ping-ponging with this 872.50 level up and down at the 1-minute chart was beautiful. The timing of it would probably require a level of finesse that I do not possess, that ended up rhyming. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind something here in NVIDIA. Like I said, I just want it to really clearly manifest. To me, I do think that this support of the 9 EMA on the 5 is a nice look, and that move, the ping pong in between and around the 9 EMA on the 1-minute, also a nice look. But again, no planned trades on that yet, just levels I like. Yes, Boeing, calm down a little bit. Please just punch there. Let's see what keeps shaking. But yeah, happy about a Tesla because it always does lower one's blood pressure a little bit being out of that stock. So
I'm out.
Probably got out a little bit early, but yeah, I guess we would have gotten the 21s that I stayed in. But you know what? 21 did not do something for me.
He didn't. He didn't do anything for me either here because
really?
we got stopped out. 18,310 broke through the volume weighted average price. So another L today, but that's the way it is. I mean, you know, you expect to come take dubs every day. You're going to be sorely surprised. So we'll continue to watch that. The one that keeps moving up here and is putting in incrementally higher lows and higher highs, DXYZ. Now, DXYZ or whatever, my Americans. The problem with this one, though, is the range per candle is extremely wide. The spread is kind of crazy as well. But the chart pattern looks awfully good, holding up at the 50. For whatever reason, it's respecting the 50-period moving average. That's the red solid line on my chart. Oh, okay. I think my headset is ready to connect here, Adair. So if I can just send it to you for a second here while I try to take advantage of this very brief, transient moment where my headset is working.
You may.
Yeah.
Yeah, much like Powell saying transient, Sharif also saying transient. Also last week, one thing you missed as well, we had Powell in this Q&A at the Stanford Graduate Business School, and the questions this guy was asking him had me rolling on the floor laughing. One of them was, if you could have a crystal ball and you could find out one thing in the future with inflation, what one thing would you find out? And the way Jay Powell looked at him so blankly was so entertaining. He's like, well, I wouldn't want to just know one thing. The guy was like, well, come on. If you had to know one thing, what would it be? I don't even remember what Powell said. I was just so...
The game is one thing here, Jerome. Calm down and play within the rules.
Yeah, no, the guy was so persistent about it, too. Like, the inflation... He talks about persistent inflation. What was really persistent was this line of questioning about this one thing with regards to the crystal ball. But yeah, I kind of got a kick out of that. I'm not gonna lie. That was yeah. What Jay Powell moved the market a little bit, but what honestly kind of less on what he was saying, and I think more just the fact that he was talking. Right. So a lot of what he was saying was answering these questions. Also, my flight in Boeing experienced a little bit of turbulence, which is kind of not even a good pun, just given the state of Boeing affairs. But it was just kind of more sad than anything else. But let's see how we do. I do like this topping tail candle. I would like if we see some follow through of this topping tail candle in the 5 minute. I would like to take a little bit of a range here. Also, speaking of ranges, we do have that lesson, which we will do post-haste. But also, I see Swirling Brain, love that name in the chat here, going rage trading. So certainly not what we're trying to do here. But as Sharif has said, and it's something I'm trying to feel a little bit, you're always angry as a trader.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to learn to kind of deal with that and figure out how to do that. Also, holy NVIDIA, Batman. Let's take a look at NVDA. Big pop to the upside here on that 5 minute candle. We had that nice bounce off that 9 EMA. Let's see, though, this earlier bottom that I was, this area I was playing around with the bottom of that range, 875, this held beautifully earlier today. We know support can become resistance. Will this be the pièce de résistance for the NVIDIA long, or will it overcome? Right now, it looks like we're going in the direction of resistance, because we did just have that rejection off that 874. I am curious to see what we do here on NVDA, because we're coming into a level that was very juicy earlier today. So will this be a BIG move to the upside, or will we fall a little bit? Let's see what happens. Yeah, also Sean, I appreciate this, Sean in the chat. Try not to be angry as a trader. It's a big change here for me. I appreciate that's something I'm trying to work on. Yeah, I mean, I think when I say angry, I'm kind of more like, like grumpy, like grumpy, like the one of the 7 dwarves, and less like, full like John Wick rage. But yeah, I appreciate that. I think something you're trying to work on every day. A lot of people also chiming in with Sean with the walks are good. We know Sean does the walk, 100%. Talk, and stalk. So that's definitely something I want to work on. So I appreciate that. Also, time to chat about the lesson of the day.
Lesson.
Did you say down?
Lesson.
Lesson.
Yeah.
Lesson du jour.
No, I didn't say down.
Oh, I thought you said, because I was like, you're in a log. Also, we're out of Boeing, so I'm happy. And yes, so let's talk about range trading. Oh, why is the title of the slide wrong? What am I doing here? Let me make sure I have the right slide. I did not. I had the slide from Friday. Good times. But here we go. This is the correct slide, which is intro to range trading, a lesson of the week I'm obviously quite excited for. And so let's talk about the basics first with range trading. We're going to get into more details as we go through the lessons, but some of these basics are discovering your ranges. So ranging is when you have this asset trading within a defined support and resistance level. Ranges can often form during periods of consolidation or when the market's a little bit more flat on the day, and they can be brief. Like, so you could have them for a couple minutes there, like we had some of those NVIDIA ranges on the 1 minute, or they can be a little bit more prolonged. So they can last an entire day. They can last weeks sometimes, right? I think Obi was bringing up that XOM range on the weekly chart last week. So their ranges can really exist on multiple time frames. Which is the last point, right? They are fractal, a word that we really do enjoy here on How to Trade, because you can see them on the weekly, the daily, the minute, what have you. But as we always say, there's going to be a little bit more strength, a little bit more oomph behind that trend if you see it on a wider time frame, or if you see something on a 5 and then you see it confirmed on the 10, on the hourly, etc. Right? So you really want to look for confluence. Shout out to Obi, and you want to see things on multiple time frames if you can. What
I meant to hit the bang,
like confluence, but
I'm fat-fingered. I'm such a bad trader, I even fat-fingered this stream deck. I mean, Ram trolling me, I love it.
Oh,
yeah, right,
that.
Ram.
But yeah, let's see. So this is one example. So this is just kind of an example showing the candle. You have your high and your low, and everything between that is going to be range. Now, in terms of range-bound trading, I like this because it's a little bit loosier-goosier than what you might see as a range, but you still have your defined top and your defined bottom. Shout out to Investopedia. What to look for when you're looking for a range. So when you're searching for a range to trade, you should be keeping an eye out for stocks that have defined, repetitive support and resistance levels, and we're going to show a graph of that in a moment. But as discussed in previous installments of How to Trade, the more times you see an asset touch level, the more confluence you have that level's exact, the more significance that level may hold. Also, you want to check to see if these levels have been significant in the past. So is this a previous close or open from the previous day? Is it today's opening price? Are we making a new high of day? Or are we making a new low of day? Like, are we seeing support and resistance form at important levels? Because that can also be of note and be something to keep an eye on. So here's one example. So you have range resistance created by a series of highs. You've got these two very defined highs here. Then you have your series of lows, 3 defined lows on this euro to the Japanese yen chart. So this kind of shows one example. And also this shows you can see these in different asset classes. You can see this on Forex. You can see this maybe on crypto. I know Fabian was giving the bang button earlier, so I assume that you can see this on crypto as well with regards to range trades. So certainly things to keep your peepers on or keep your eyes on. Planning the trade also really important. So if you're trading at the bottom of the range, your plan might be to go long at the bottom of the range and take profits as the asset price nears the top of the range. However, if the sentiment on this is looking a little bearish, if you're like, oh, I want to take this. Oh wait, no, this isn't long. Okay. If you're feeling, I did these notes in the opposite order of what they are in the slide. But anyway, so if you're feeling like you want to go long here, then you might, if you're feeling like you want to go short, you might want to short the top of the range, and the traders do short the top of the range. You might want to take profits as the price nears the bottom of the range or support area. I apologize because I wrote this in order of the opposite direction of the order of the slides. There we go. But also here's one example from IG, I believe. So shout out to IG and Frank Caberna and everybody there. I just found this on the website, Frank Caberna. But yeah, you have your buy entry here around this 140.60 area. Then your sell entry around this 140, 150. And these are kind of murky areas of risk, but it just shows anywhere beyond that is where you might want to set your risk reward parameter. So if you have a whole chart, you'll have a better sense of what areas were previous resistance and support, where you might want to set your risk. But also, here's some factors to consider. You want to be cognizant of another word we really love in How to Trade, of the overarching trend. So if you have a stock that's 5%, up 5% in the day, you might not want to short the top of the range because even though you see this range, the stock might be consolidating before a breakout. So then you might want to wait till we get to the bottom of the range and go long. That's something I've had to really learn because I still do this sometimes. Something's up like 5% in the day and I'm like, oh, but we keep going down here, so I'll just short it to the bottom of the range, and then it breaks to the upside.
I love how you're talking like that, Adair. You're killing it today.
I feel like you feel like a cartoon character when you're doing stuff like that. You're like, what am I doing? You feel like, Daffy Duck or something. But yeah, also worth noting, you want to consider your risk to reward metrics before you enter a range trade. Another thing that I feel like I'm working on a lot. So if the range is only 10 pennies and you're risking 20 pennies, pourquoi? Why? You have to ask yourself, what's the goal here, right? What are you trying to do?
Pamp it.
In that case, pamp it. The trade might not make sense from a risk to reward perspective. You want to keep in mind the size of the range of the profit potential in relation to your risk. But I don't see any risk here. I only see reward here on this side of the desk.
Ram's killing me today, bro. Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. Tesla's doing well here, so it looks like we just got filled again here on Tesla. Guys, I am in the sim today. This isn't real money. We long Tesla here basically off the double bottom, off the volume weighted average price. I'm talking about that 172 hold. 172 hold at VWAP. And then, breaking now above that previous high over here. So this was the earlier crest that we rejected off. It was around 173.50. Now we just made our way up there into 173.60. So I wet my beak there on some profits. Let's see if we can make it up into number 174. That's a whole other level. And then we have to keep an eye on the HOD. The high of day today is 174.50 exactly on TSLA. TSLA has been strong, owing specifically to that tweet by our friend Elon on Friday afternoon. We're going to sit here at 69s to get filled because what's life without whimsy? Friday afternoon, in case you're wondering what's going on with TSLA, he's promised us August 8th, 8/8 exactly. We're going to get, I guess, a sneak peek, an unveiling, whatever you want to call it, for the robo-taxi. Now, in case you wonder about Tesla's valuation and why it's trading at multiples times the other car manufacturers, well, that's one of the reasons, okay? There's several, there's robotics, there's other things, but autonomous driving, the robo-taxi, smack dab in the middle of that valuation, that elevated valuation when you compare it to other automakers. So we'll have to wait and see what we get from that announcement. Obviously, ways away towards the end of summer. We're not even in mid-spring yet, so we'll see. We just got filled there again on TSLA as it broke through 70 RAM, and doing well here. We're out half the position now, looking for that move into 174 or thereabouts. We'll see. Okay. You still holding any CXAI long in your paper trading account, Sam? No, I'm not. And everything you see right here is basically the trades that I've had. So the out on CXAI was right here. That's when we got out because it broke that 590 area. Look, the bamboozlement's real. 590 was a spot that kept on holding multiple times, but, you know, you're going to get bamboozled, and it did make a new high a day, sadly, after breaking that level, 628 HOD right now on CXAI. That it could continue to run. It had a great day, a great week last week, and it looks like it's continuing more into that today. Tesla is continuing to go, guys. Now we're printing 75s. Okay, so we were talking about 69s. Now we're printing 75s, and there it is again. There goes 80s. Okay, so Tesla possibly on its way up here. Let's see if we can get that 174 print. Let's see what else people are talking about here in the chat. Give Adair a little break after dropping hot lines. Darwood, welcome back. Blame it on the jet lag. Yeah, I just suck in general, bro. I don't have to blame it on the jet lag. I'm assuming you're talking about my fat finger boo-boo there on the stream deck. Yeah.
I like that.
All right, we're almost at 174 here, Adair, so we're going to take a little bit more profit on Tesla.
I love that. I was not prepared for that.
The Katina Man's trolling all of us because he's the only guy in here with the solar glasses. So in case you don't know, me and Patty Ice, before the show came on, we went around everywhere looking for some of these glasses. And not only do they not have them, but I heard the places that actually have them are gouging you. $10 a pop for paper glasses.
That's
Do you know what they were
crazy.
selling them on Marketplace? Like $2.
That makes it because they're paper glasses.
In my area,
like 3D glasses.
Right? So it's a print factory right here on Tesla. We got that 173. Whoa, was that Donald? Bring back the Donald. What's he doing? It's the biggest.
Oh, he's looking at the sky.
This is the biggest solar eclipse ever. This is the biggest. It's the best.
Move over, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin who? I found a new impersonator here in the house.
That is good. That is good right there. I like it. I like
really
it.
good.
Do it again.
Also, like, can we? I want to appreciate everything about that. The Sean.
Yeah, everything was
there,
good there.
The Sharif impersonation there. How quickly Ramin and Fabian were with the camera on that. Like,
Adira, I do
team.
have a question though. I do have a question, and it's a serious question. And anybody in the chat who knows the response, please tag me, explain to me, because I'm an idiot, okay? Have you ever looked at the sun in your life before, yes or no?
probably when I was a child. Yeah.
I mean, like, you haven't looked at the sun? We've all looked at the sun.
I think about it. Yeah, I think about it.
Okay, I've looked at the sun. I'll
Yeah.
just answer for myself.
Yeah, I
I've
have.
looked at
Yeah,
the sun.
I have.
I haven't stared at the sun, but I've had a
That was
look.
what I was trying to figure. Like what? Yeah, I've looked
I've
at
taken
it.
a quick peek.
Yeah.
Right? What is the difference between momentarily looking at the sun on a regular day and then momentarily looking at the eclipse?
Well, I think
I don't understand.
I don't either. But I can like try to.
Yeah, go for it. Have at it, because I don't know.
So Ramina's saying the safety element, which I think is true. I think also the fact that this word eclipse is like, you know, when used outside of the context of the Twilight film, eclipse usually means to like, you know, to surpass something, right?
Yeah.
So it's like solar, it's like the sun is just extra sun. You know what I mean? So I think it's the intensity as Ramina
Fair.
said, the safety.
Okay,
I think it's
okay.
the
Ram. Are you able to put yourself on? Aww.
You're looking for...
Tell Adira in her ear, because I can't hear, because my thing is still busted.
Also, Mahmoud, yeah, we have one Fed speaker at 1. I haven't seen any updates on what they're saying.
Let me find out.
No, I have not. And that Fed speaker is, we have Kashkari tonight, so he can't you know, do things to the market because he will be speaking at 7 p.m. But Fed's Goolsby speaking at 1. I have not heard anything from Goolsby so far today. But yeah, so faded traders saying the amount of light concentrated is different. Duration
I see.
Is the difference.
Okay, give me some facts.
There.
That's what I'm asking for here. So the concentration is different. That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so seeing a lot of different things.
Your pupils will be dilated in the dark, and too much UV hurts. Thank you, Roland Joe. Great answer. Okay, see.
Sorry,
I mean,
Ramin's trying to tell me in my ear.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Ram. Repeat a little bit of it, because we can't be that quiet. Yeah.
So because it's dark, you can look at it easier. So your whole eye is looking at it instead of just seeing parts of it because it's light. So your cornea.
I see.
So your cornea is more prone to being affected by the rays. Yeah, so she says, you're a liar if you tell me you've ever full open-eyed looked at the sun. And she's right.
Yeah?
So it's like when you're squinting at it.
Very interesting. Yeah. Okay, that actually makes sense. I knew that there was a reason. I just didn't understand why. It's
thank you, Ramin, and thank you everybody in the chat with some insight on that as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it was Kane in the chat asking, can you explain your Tesla long entry to me? So I can. Although I'm not the one currently printing on Tesla.
Yeah,
that would be our pal Sharif. But yeah, so why I got in here was I talk a lot about my little micro ranges and areas I like. And these areas do come from the chart. Like they're not just coming out of my brain, but I've started drawing a plethora of lines on the chart. And that's where this came from. So look at this 172.50 rejection. Look at that nice little doji candle there too to show you, hey, I matter. This level exists. It's important. That's what
I like that.
And then we kind of go here. We have this nice bounce off VWAP. Then guess where we come again? 172.50, right? And so this is twice an area of resistance. Then look where we form support, 172.50. So then we come up, and I watch here as well because we reject off this area. We're also at a topping tail candle, this 173.30. And then that's when I'm like, Adira, if you're not going to take the short, you should take the long if we bounce here. So I did watch. I watched to see what we did at 172.50. I hope this makes sense, Kane. I'm not always the most direct at explaining things. But I did want to go long here when I noticed. I waited to see if we bounced. We did bounce. And I said, you know what? If you like this area, Adira, it's held up a couple times now. Just get involved. So that's why I got involved there. Then also I decided my risk is going to be I'll leave if we get below 172. Now, why that area? Because A, it gives me about 50 pennies, which is nice if you're trying to take max 80 pennies on the trade. I have no problem with that. B, look at this earlier area that we bounced off cleanly. I like the 172 support. So that was my risk management, my risk reward principle going in. I wanted to take some out at 173 because I like the whole dollar level, and that 173 also got a little bit spicy earlier. So I was like, why not? And then B, the plan was to leave a piece for the dream until 173.30. We were really struggling though with 173s, and I know what I'm like. If I need instant gratification, so I was like, if this stock doesn't move quickly, I will get out too early. So that's why I got out at 173.10. So I hope that makes sense in terms of explaining my entry and my goal with that trade. And I always love answering these questions too, because it helps me think more critically about my logic behind the trade. But I'm not the one with the plethora of beak wetters there right now in TSLA.
It's not a bad look. I just want to shout out Faded Trader. He made me chuckle hard there, man. He's like, shout out to all the flat sunners. Creak, creak, creak. Hit it.
I thought that was good.
Okay. There we go. There we go. Of course. All right. Tesla is coming a little bit down now, but Chill Vibes also alerting me to the fact that we have AAPL on the way down, rejecting off the volume-weighted average price yet again, it looks like here. Well, actually, to be honest with you, it really hasn't been the volume-weighted average price. It's been the 50 period. First rejection here, 10.05. Second rejection here between 10.50 and 11.10. And the third rejection on the 50 period moving average on the 5-minute time chart, 12.50 here at about, well, not 12.50, 12.45 to about 1. So 15 minutes of a top end range being at the 50 and all on the way down. We haven't hit new lows yet, but it's been a rinse and repeat short on Apple using the 50-period exponential moving average, which is the red solid line on my charts, guys. So we'll continue to see if Apple still continues to head down here, but everything is curling down except Tesla. All the Mag 7 names curling down in one shape, in one form or another. That is except TSLA. But let me tell you, TSLA doesn't look like no spring chicken either right now, because it's breaking down below that 173.50, right? And we put in this kind of candle of indecision. I don't want to call it a topping tail candle. A bit of a candle of indecision here at 174. So Tesla looks like it's going to come into my entry, and if that is the case, well, then the decisions have to be made. Namely because I don't like my entry as an area of support. The area of support that I do like is this 172 to 172 and a quarter area. So if I need to let go of this trade at my entry to re-up at a better level, I'm good with that. The other thing I'm a little disappointed about, we had the right idea here to short the future, and yeah, it ended up working out. We were doing this 18.3 dance for a while, and then we broke above 18.310. We did end up making it down. So this is kind of the trade that I was really, this is the trade that was cutting me up before I went on vacation. This range trade, it was a trade that Adara flourished in. I remember before I leave, Adara was killing it because it was super rangy. She ID'd the top, she ID'd the bottom, she rinsed and repeated. To me, the trend trader, I look for that breakout above 3 or the breakdown below 3. What I anticipate would happen is going to be continuation one way or another. Sometimes that doesn't manifest. And, you know, getting your bearings and figuring out it's a more consolidative day rather than a trend day is one of the things that I have to work on. For myself, so that I don't get caught up on those range trade days. I know how to trade ranges, I just don't know how to ID them well enough, and then I always seem to default to this trend mentality. And so on this day, the MNQ or the NQ in general is obviously range bound from essentially 12:30 onwards. So we're going on almost an hour now of ranging between 18.3. So that's just, you know, kind of my little 2 cents there about what I need to improve on and things that I've seen in my trading game that I'd like to change. So we'll keep eyes on that. Tesla right back up so we don't get stopped out. Here comes that 173 3/4. We'll see if we can get above 174. Last time around here on TSLA, 174 was the top at this crest over here. We got some out at 90s. We didn't get any out at 174, so we'll see. Oh, wow. As I was just singing Tesla's praise, it just tanked again. So a lot of volatility here coming into Tesla as we now break down below 18.3 on the market today.
I mean, we've talked about volatility, but you know what we haven't talked about in many moons is volatility. Let's take a look at Eli Lilly. I was thinking about this earlier because I think a while ago there was Chase Bands in the chat mentioning Eli Lilly as a short. I mean, we're below a milli, so I cannot get involved in Lilly. But yeah, this would be a nice short if you were involved. Shout out to you. To me, the main level I see on this is, I mean, like, look at this. There's a couple levels, actually. But to me, the level that screams at me is this area that we have the pre-market and then double bottoms again at open, and that is this 775 area, or 776 area, sorry. This is gorgeous. I mean, look at this. We bounce off it twice. Then we come back up here. We cannot make a higher low because we had a lot of strength in that pre. Then we kind of come down here, and guess where we bounce off again? Not again, but we bounce off this twice, the 774. So to me, there are 2 distinct areas here for Lilly, that being 776 and 774. What are we going to do in 776? We're going to reject? We're going to try this level again. Let's wait and see. We know support can become resistance. So to me, Lilly is at a decision point. Where she'll have to, you know, to make some choices here. She's below a milli, though. If she wasn't, I'd probably short her here and take it to 774. But alas, she is. And part of my trading game is recognizing, no, Adara, you could not trade Eli Lilly just because you feel like it. That is not appropriate risk and reward. And right now she's below a milli. So hands off, hands behind the back. So we're going to have to let her bid adieu to Mademoiselle because, but yeah, this was a while ago. I just thought of this now. So shout out to Chase Bands, hopefully printing on that short, because I mean, a nice look to the down side. Long PLR, long PLTR, double bottom, asks Chris Compost. So let's take a look here. P to the L to T to the R. what does our crystal ball or our Palantir say about Palantir? Though, yeah, this is a massive, see, to me, this is a double top is the thing I see the most. Okay, this is an interesting chart. I want to look at this at more time frames because to me, this is a little bit bamboozling. So on the 10-minute, I think to me that the clearest level at all time frames is this double top. However, and the double top is at 2316. However, also tell me, Chris Compost, what time frame you're looking at specifically. But I think for me, I see what you mean. There is a little bit of an area here at this 2294. However, what I'm seeing more is maybe a flat bottom break. And I say this because we are slightly down in the day. We've had lower highs and this pretty defined bottom of this 2294, 2292 area more or less. And also, we're rejecting this 9 EMA quite heartily. So to me, there is a repeated pattern here that suggests we could be continuing to the downside. That's my take on that. I don't totally see a double bottom, but I also don't know what time frame for sure you're looking at either, right? Let's take a look at the 1 minute, see if, like I see what you mean. There is certainly something with this level, but to me, I think the thing that might be with this level, and I think on the 1 minute you also kind of see it here, is that we do have these lower highs with the flat bottom. So to me, this could be a bit of a classic flat bottom break or a quadunk. But we'll have to find out. We'll have to wait and see. You know what I mean? We don't have Palantirs. We don't have crystal balls. We can't see the future. All we can do is look at these charts. So to me, we're gonna have to wait and see. To me, this could manifest as a flat bottom. I don't have my eye on anything right now. I do want to get involved in a trade, but I'm gonna have to wait and see if any trades are calling my name.
All right. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about this Tesla position. Wow, the volatility has really picked up here on TSLA. Range per candle. I really want to make that into a standard metric. Range per candle is really, yeah, it's widening up a little bit of Dara. Kind of 1, 2, 3 candles of indecision here where you kind of get these doji looking candles. They end up red though, and you bounce up. This is what kind of threw me off. We bounced up and we made a newer high to break that 173.75, and you thought, okay, here we made a new 5 minute candle to make a new high. We're gonna trend back into 174, but you know, the volatility is, I guess the bamboozlement is there. So I've got my out now at 19. So I'm going to get stopped out. There we go. So now I'm officially stopped out of the position, break even on the remaining 30%. You know, obviously wishing that I had taken some out there on the pop into 70s, but you know, I didn't know it was going to tank, right? It looked like it was continuing to kind of curl and go into a newer high. We'll see now what we can get our hands on. Look, I don't like any of these Mag 7 names on the day right now. I like Tesla, but the other ones I've eek a little bit. So let's look for some let's look for some other stuff over here. What's going on? Polestar's up 10%. Obviously, it's not doing much. What's the volume on Polestar today? 2.14 million shares. That's not going to cut it. But yeah, Polestar up nice 10% there. Kind of a bit of a standout there for EVs. Lucid also up 3%, but these guys are trading like a buyout because they're just so thickly traded as well. Li Auto, Adara threw that on the watch list today up to 31 bucks. It's up 3.82%. You know, really still towards the bottom end of the range, nothing there. I'm looking at some crypto names. Let's see what we got over here. Coinbase up 6 3/4. All right, let's pull up Coinbase. Wow, Coinbase, man. Oof. $256 this thing is. All right.
Pardon?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, Coinbase. It's $30 last year. Not kidding. All right,
That's
Coinbase
wild.
doing things here, as Adair likes to say. Let's pull this up. Let's get in a bit of a tighter view. Let's go to the 5. Figure out what the deal is. Okay, so it looks as if the move in Coinbase was essentially a gap up from the Friday close. We closed at $241 on Friday. We gapped up at 4 a.m. at $250 and a third. And we haven't looked back since. Technically, that's an institutional print that doesn't count. That's the 8 a.m. The IB low, is there an IB low here or do we get the low way later? No. So the IB low, let's just say $252. So the move was the gap up from Friday, because with respect to the actual opening and current price action, there's not too much here. I mean, yeah, they're 249 low, 261 high. There was some stuff. There was also some VWAP dips around here, but you had to give these room again, because look, the closing prints are all above the volume weighted average price, but the wicks go far lower than that as well. So you would have had to dance there with some stop placement. Now, what else we got? Okay, is there a discernible top here off which we can base a trade? So I'm going to go ahead and say no. So if I was to take a trade off Coinbase, it would have to be at VWAP, and I would have to give it more room than I typically would like, just owing to these candles over here and what they did. So I'm going to go ahead and say maybe at 255 and 2/3, 255 and 3/4, I'd set up a dip trade. Maybe even that 256, but it would have to be with smaller size. Right now we're trading at 257. We'll just dip below that. So Coinbase doing things today. Tesla also bamboozling me here, stopping me out, literally got bottom wick and then curls right back up. However, with respect to Tesla, it is still putting in sequentially lower highs on the one. Let's see if this one can change. Okay, well, it does. There goes 3/4. So now Tesla breaking above that $0.75, looking to take 174. So frustrating for me here to get stopped out bottom wick like that. Sim or not, it still bothers me, right? Because it's just about executing the trade. So that's quite frustrating for me to have bottom wick like that, and then right back up above 5 1/3% right now on TSLA. Good look here. Let's see if it can break and hold above 174, Adara.
Yeah, I'm just a little grumpy because I just accidentally fat-fingered out of some on my meta, because of course I did. We're getting a little bit better with the fat fingers, but I mean, I'm not perfect. But yeah, the plan was, and I said, this is my recurring issue. I wanted to type in 520.64. Instead I typed in 521.64. So, c'est la vie. There is no point in like crying over spilt milk. It happened, it happened. You know what, and maybe I'll add it back. If we can get filled again here, fine. I'll add these shares that I accidentally sold, because I do like the amount that I had. I did want to space it out. And the impetus for this short is we have these lower highs. Now, we didn't have a lower low here. However, I do think there's enough range potential that I can kind of dance around in this trade for a little bit, right? We're rejecting off this 90 MA. The plan was to take this for 50 cents and then save a piece for the dream. And then the dream actually we got a little bit jolted awake there when we accidentally sold half the position. So the plan is to try to get those shares back and then continue to see what happens here to the downside, because I do like this meta short. We are very much struggling with eclipsing. I just realized that wasn't even an intentional eclipse plan. We're struggling with eclipsing this 90 MA, so if we keep below this 90 MA, I think the short is still in the water. Also, this area that I like was the bottom of this earlier range in META, going back from about 1230 to about 110, so about 40 minutes of range there. That's an area I want to keep an eye on. Also, Michael Moore, Michael MOR, a while ago mentioning Lucid, so I apologize I didn't get to look at this one earlier, but I'll take a look at it now. This is a nice look. I'm not seeing any catalyst on Lucid, but higher highs here higher lows across the board here, I would say. We have that touch, this pre-market touch 910, very much seeing this 263 is the area of support. We come back again, bounce here for a little bit around 10:30. Then again, getting a little bit higher here, it's 11:40. Now we have this nice little support shelf forming at 268, pushing above. The other area that I think is interesting is, of course, this area around about 270. This, to me, we're seeing a higher lows and a flat top. Could it be a flat top break? We're going to have to wait and find out. But I do think there's the makings of something quite delicious brewing here in META. So I think this is a nice look. Sorry I didn't get to this one earlier, but I do think there is potentially something spicy in a good way, because I'm not a huge spice person, but I think this could be a spicy long here in LCID. Not the type of trade I trade, but I think this is certainly a nice look. Also, Neil mentioning ARM in the chat. I haven't looked at ARM, so I'm going to take a look at ARM there. This is nice. This is a nice look here on ARM. Yeah, that 127. Yeah, this is, again, not really the type of trade that I make, but I just want to take a look at that because I haven't looked at ARM in a while. Yeah, ARM trying to get a leg up on the market, so shout out to Neil with that one. What else am I looking at? Honestly, not much. Just waiting for my meta to come into fruition. This Boeing, though, is still kind of rangy. I did fly out of the plane, Jason Bourne style, right before the lesson. I took about 10 shares on this, but this is continuing to range. Jason Bourne. But yeah, let's see here what we do. I want to take this. Look at this range that we've kind of had, right? This 810 more or less to 8. I don't think so. 180. Sorry, not 810 on Boeing. 182.10 to 182.60, about a 50 penny range. I might actually hop back in the plane and see if we can keep the fuselage door on in the time while I'm in this short. on BA. How are you doing? What are you taking a look at?
I don't know.
right
This
now?
guy in the chat's calling me Boo Boo.
Oh, it's a reference to Yogi Bear.
Oh, okay.
Picnic
okay.
basket. Yeah.
I was like, yo, bro.
Picnic basket. Yeah.
I'm not your boo.
It's a reference to that cartoon from like the 60s or whatever.
Oh,
yeah.
is it? Okay,
Yogi
okay.
Bear. But
I don't know. He was saying I'm off my game, but I think
Fabian's
it's
is
pretty
very
good.
good. Fabian's Yogi Bear impression is on point.
Yogi
It's
Bear.
in my ear, but yeah.
Let's go, Chilean Nightmare. We want to hear it.
Boo boo.
You got to do that on camera, brother. You got to do that on camera.
That's good.
Shout out to Fabian. Yeah, he wants extra for that. What was I going to say? I was going to say something super quick. Yeah, Tesla on its way back up into 174 here. So, yeah, bottom wick on the out. Frustrating, but that's the way it is. But it is having an issue here. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but it's having an issue holding above 174. And even the time at around 11:20 or so, when it did break above 174, was quite transient. We were there for less than 5 minutes, and then we broke down aggressively into that 172 area. So for whatever reason, it's not that 175 area today on TSLA. It looks to be 174. We can't break through that level. I didn't see anything big size related at the whole dollar level when we were near it. And we're kind of close to it right now. But this is the sim, and you don't typically see all the gateways on the sim. You only see some of them, so you don't get the full picture. So we'll see. We'll see if we get that 174 break on TSLA on today. I'm looking at some other stuff. We talked about SoFi today as well. And SoFi is at high of days as we speak. So you're not going to typically see me trade SoFi. I know Neil likes to trade it sometimes, some other traders as well. Here is SOFI. There was a lot of talk about this one not doing that well today, owing to the Biden administration's reinvigorated efforts to cancel out a lot of student loan debt. SoFi has made one of its businesses the refinancing of higher rate student loans. Apparently, from what I was reading today, they can go up as high as 8%, sometimes even higher, which is, that's pretty high. And, SoFi will let you refi that at a lower rate. I'm not exactly sure what the rates are. 769 HOD right now, closed out Friday at 740, so we're 29 pennies off that close. We are at the high of day as we speak, so the market liking what they heard today with respect to this student loan forgiveness stuff, and SoFi up at 769. So we'll see if this one can continue to go. I'm looking at my side charts here to see what else is popping off. Jay Lee says Reddit would have been a $3 winner if you shorted it this morning. I wish I had some confidence, but I expected this move down to continue. I feel you, Jay. Let's have a look at RDDT, one that we traded a lot before we left, and I really haven't had an opportunity to look at what it's been doing in the week that I was gone. So it looks as if it did, almost nothing. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. Relative to what it had done in the week prior, it looks like nothing. Looks like the top there was around, or the real top is $50. So we're having trouble, obviously, breaking and holding above $50. We did it on the first and then ever so briefly here, on the second and then ever so briefly on the third. Since that time, 50's become an elusive level. Right now we're doing the dance with 45, 46. Not much here, Jay, but I guess like we were saying, that pop off there in the right off the bell, it was a sell to pop. Popped up from the close, like we said, 46 bucks. It closed at. Popped up to 49.18, and it's been down to the right since then. So, yeah, RDDT. Obviously, we expected some volatility with this name, owing to the fact that there was no blackout period here. So there was a lot of insider selling by the CEO as well as some of the mods were given shares, and they didn't have a blackout period either. So there was volatility expected, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Day trader cut. When's the next trip? Good question. Probably going to go see my sister in July.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this, right? Yeah.
She so jokes. She came in one day. She was in Barbados with the kids. Went from LA to Barbados. Barbados, Toronto. Stayed one day with my parents to see my parents, and then went right back into Right back to LAX.
Got places to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't blame her.
She always likes drop by. Like my niece and nephew, or was FaceTiming them. They're like, she brought us here. She told us the connecting flight was to Toronto, but we know she's lying. We know she chose it. She says that it suggested to her the connection in Toronto. I don't know if I believe that.
That's too funny.
All right,
They're
Adara,
like calling her out.
a new small cap gapper has made its way onto the scene midday, and it goes by the ticker of WAVE, W-A-V-E. It's doing things, as Adara likes to say. Let's pull this bad boy up. Here it is. Wow, this thing is rocketing up. Okay, so 180% to the good so far. 11.5 million shares done so far, which is not bad. This one, the volume really started coming in here about 10 to 1. So this thing's been going for about 40 minutes or so. Not a bad look. I don't have any details on it. I'm devoid of any details. Let's pull up trade ideas to figure out what's popping off. Wave. So float, 20.79 million shares. Short float, a third of that. So 0.33. Not a third of that. 0.33%, not a third, excuse me. Anyway, this one's moving. Let's see what this one has done in the past. Is it a former runner? Okay, so it had a bit of life breathed into it last June, but since that time, we've had one outlying day, and that takes us to January 3rd. I think that was the first trading day of the year. Yeah, it was. No, the second was. The second was. Yeah, the second was. So this one's moving. Not sure what the catalyst is. Let's bring that bad boy down. Here it is. EcoWave. Power. Global shares are trading higher after the company announced that it was selected by an international energy company to conduct wave energy feasibility studies for the U.S. coastline. Okay, sounds great. Not like I understand much of it, but we're going to pull that up on a trading screen because it is doing things at the moment, Adair.
Yes. Also, as Fabian was saying in my ear, it's more like a tsunami than a wave.
Ah. Fabian, you're killing it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, we love this team. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking English right now. What a great team that we have, you know, always killing it there. I love Fabian chiming in with the puns, always. Yeah, Boeing, we're trying to have this one have a little bit of a move to the downside. Hopefully not a turbulent landing that we are talking about Boeing, so we'll see. But all jokes aside, it is really upsetting how often they're negative catalysts with this name. Hopefully they can get their stuff together, and the FAA will have to stop knocking at their door. So it seems like there's been a lot of that lately. Right now, though, Boeing's knocking at the door of this 40s area. So yeah, where did I get in this? 50s? Yeah. So I mean, pleased as punch with this so far. I did try to add at 58s. We just missed it by that much. Showed it to Get Smart. We were about like 2 pennies shy there of getting that fill. That's okay. I'm taking out some profit here. That 30s level, which is where we stalled earlier. That's where I was getting out in these earlier trades. Then I am saving a piece for the dream at 82.10 because that's the true bottom of the range to me. Let's see though. This one's struggling a little bit at the 9 EMA, but it did the same earlier. That's also, you know what? I think because it's range trading week, if I may wax poetic for a moment about these range trades and why I like them, I think part of it is there's something a little bit more comforting or familiar, right? You've watched the stock behave a couple times, especially if you're trading the same range all day, which sometimes I'll do. And then you actually kind of know, like, hey, this is how it's moving. This is the way it tends to move. It moves a little bit more quickly, moves a bit more slowly. There's certain areas it's clinging onto on its way up and down in the range. So I think that's why I personally like range trading, or the Adara Panera trades, as Sharif will sometimes call them. And that's why, that's my preferred way to get that bread, or that paper bread in my case. Though hopefully not for long, because I am trying to get some time aside to take that test. But yeah, basically why I like it is because there are levels that kind of scream to you, hey, take me. I do not, hopefully I'll gain some confidence. And I did take some breakdown trades last week, like that NVIDIA trade. So I am trying to change my style a little bit, switch the style up. But also it's good to have like ways you're more comfortable with. And for me, Sharif just talked about being a momentum trader. He likes the trends. For me, I'm a little bit more soothed when I have my clear ranges. So that's a little bit of hopefully coherent waxing poetic on why range trades are my preferred way to trade, especially with this being range week. Best team on the tube says chill vibes. Yeah, I mean, we have the best audience too, which is I think a huge part of it. So
yes.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. We love being here every single day, and we love having everybody here every single day. Also, Feds Goolsby says undeniable that many are upset with the economy, and he sees a breakdown between the data and the consumer mood. So kind of, I guess, a little bit of a discrepancy there between how consumers are feeling and how the data is going. Also, with that in mind, we would like to give a shout out to our friends at Benzinga, which is where I saw that lovely story there. And you can see when it says SPY, that's like usually news that impacts the whole market. So I can see, hey, Feds Goolsby is talking. It's not like Feds Barkin is barking, you know, it's not as easy to make fun of that, but I can see that he's talking, and that's how I know, you know, hey, like this is good to know, something to keep an eye on. Any news that's coming out with specific stocks, you can see that tagged as well. And so we are brought to you, as we said, by Benzinga Pro. You can sign up today for 50% off our premier news or their premier news and research platform for retail traders. Just use the code TTV, capital letters, that is TTV, capital letters, and use the link in the description to go to check out.
I'm going along Meta.
Yes.
You want to know why? Zucky is doing things on his Instagram. Well, everybody knows
the angle of that video is also amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, I was kind of like unflattering, but I didn't mean it that way.
It's an odd angle.
Right. Yeah. Remember Zuckerberg obviously injured himself. I think he tore his ACL or MCL. I'm not sure exactly what he tore.
Maybe I want you to send the video.
Yeah. It's on his Instagram, Zuck. Z-U-C-K.
Sorry, Instagram, not Twitter, my bad.
Yeah. No. Oh, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd go on Twitter.
Yeah, that makes sense. I said that out loud, and it was
wouldn't.
like something felt off about what I
It's like
said.
anti-Twitter, him and his threads. Yeah, but the Zuckster is doing leg presses, baby, and he's doing things. It's good for him.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, good for him. I know he's trying to recover. He was doing that whole MMA thing, hurt himself, and I was obviously kidding when I'm saying I'm going along Meta because Zuckerberg's working out. We're tongue-in-cheeking it over here,
When
obviously.
you said it, I thought you were being serious.
I know.
Also, I love tongue-in-cheeking it. That's a great phrase.
Right? I set up a dip trade Adara here on Wave that, you know, looks destined to go unfulfilled, guys. I'm putting it at the 3.5. The reason is because we've been getting these momentary retracements on Wave. And we haven't been really tanking. Guys, I'm trying to show the chart. So I'm looking for kind of a 5-minute retracement, then maybe another push forward into 4, right? It seems as if maybe 4 would be the next level here on Wave. Small share size, I'm in the sim. I want to make that very clear. Okay, so it looks like it did come into my level. I missed it by 2 pennies. So I had it at 51s, it came down to 53, so it didn't get filled. Up into 80s it goes, it's up 180%. Again, I gave you the float on this one. It's 20 some odd million, negligible share float. It's gone in the past. It is a former runner. It hasn't ran in a long time. So if that makes any difference to you, just thought I'd let you know. I'm sitting on a dip trade, 350. Let's see if we get filled. My line in the sand will be that 3.25, 3 1/3 area. So we'll see. We'll give it a little bit of room here and see what we can get out of it. Let's see what the chat is up to over here. I haven't had a look to see what people have been talking about. People smack talking the Zucksters. All right, yeah, so nothing too interesting here. Let's flip back to Tesla because we had that trade on Tesla earlier. Let's see how it's doing. Oh, where'd my Tesla? Oh, I had it on Wave. Okay, so we'll take off Softy, put TSLA. Yeah, Tesla's continuing to have trouble at 174. So we're having all these topping tail candles come into 174 and reject. So I mentioned 174 earlier, and now you guys can see it for yourselves. There's accumulation here at 174. I would be hesitant to take the short with big size. Now, you may be able to scalp something. You may be able to mean revert off this 174 rejection. But the reason I say be careful with a full-fledged short at 174 is owing to these higher lows that Tesla's been putting in here. It hasn't been able to break through 174 on a closing basis since well earlier. However, the higher lows there shows some possible buyer exuberance, over exuberance, I guess maybe, and breaking through 174 eventually. So I just want to point that out. That is another good look there. What do you got over there?
Yeah, so I have this up for Vanessa in the chat saying more downside for Amazon. And yeah, so I didn't get to this right away. I do think that we're at a point of decision for Amazon. And I want to talk about why I think that. Look at this 185 area. Also, I was trying to test out the square tool. We didn't really need this to be in a square, but I was trying to test out the square tool, and I do still, like, it doesn't not prove the point, so that's why I have it in the square. The point I'm trying to make is, look at this bottom at 185. So to me, we had that move down here. We generally have had lower highs, lower lows. It's been quite the short today. Yeah, definitely swinging from vine to the downside here is AMZN. But then we get interesting. We get to this 185 area, and we're having a really hard time decisively breaking below 185. I would probably wait a couple candles and see what we do here. And why I say that is because this could be a double bottom. Now, of course, we don't know that yet. We are about 10 pennies shy of 185 right now, so maybe it is still breaking down. But I'm still going to be pretty cognizant of what we do here. It's the 5-minute chart at this 185 level, because that was a level for Amazon earlier with that double bottom. We're down only actually just shy of, we're just negative on the day barely. So this is going to be a decisive point for Amazon in a lot of ways. Will we go red? Or will we reclaim the upside and have an expedited long delivered here overnight to see if we can get this move back to the upside? I think whatever we do here is going to depend on what we do at 185. So to answer your question, Vanessa, I think there could be more downside for Amazon if we see some decisive movement down below this 185, because right now we're a little bit hemming and hawing, we're waffling. Amazon needs to decide if it's hitting that send order for the long to the upside, or if it's going to return the package to go the downside. Also, speaking of Zucky, I want to take a look at Meta, because I was really happy with this short. My only issue with this short was that I did accidentally fat finger out of some of it earlier, which is obviously does not have me pleased as punch. It has me, you know, displeased as something. I can't think of a word. Displeased as punch. But yeah, certainly, like, I was not, you know, I was not hitting the like button for that. I'll put it this way. I was not hitting the like button for that fat finger, but I was very happy with, we ended up taking about 50 pennies on this. So initially the plan was to take 50 pennies with that portion of the shares I fat fingered and then save a piece for the dream. However, if we keep rejecting here, especially if we reject at this level, this is where I got out of the initial short, because I did like that support we had earlier at 520.68, 520.70. We reject here, that support becoming resistance. And to me, that's when things get a little salt-based, spicy. That's what happens here. We're gonna have to wait and see. Also, I'm about a half of Boeing. Let's see if we continue to see, you know, the engine cover come off to the downside here on BA. I want to see some, I want all that smoke. Although that was actually a really bad pun to use for Boeing. I just realized after the fact that was not on purpose.
Well, I don't think anybody's, well, I shouldn't say that. People have died in the past.
Then I want none of the smoke.
Not lately, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that 2017, 2018
yeah,
crash.
that was.
Eek.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they can't catch a break. It's kind of their own fault.
Yeah, right? Well, the FAA keeps being like, hey, guys, what are you doing? And there's a reason for that. It's because things keep happening. Right? Like, we should not have to have every Monday a story with Boeing. That should not be how things are.
No.
So, yeah, I apologize. I literally did not realize until the words came out of my mouth that was
I don't think
a
you
little
meant
bit.
it, Adara.
I really didn't mean it. So I want none of the smoke in Boeing, but I do want all the smoke in the trade.
I like, okay. Way to come back with that. No, look, guys, I got the dip trade on Wave, but I am nervous about this trade. Reason being, it's a small cap gapper. It's running midday, started moving in the middle of the day. I'm only about 10 pennies out of the money right now. We're printing 41s, but I already have my stop in place. The stop is going to trigger if we break down below 320. That's the line in the sand that I have to draw. And I'm looking for a reclaim of 350. The sooner the better on this, because you know, it's not like a large cap where you know there's going to be interest at a possible level, let's say, you know, whatever, on the day, 174 on Tesla, where you know shorts are going to be coming in. This one, it could go anyway, anytime, in any direction, and you have to be ready for all the contingencies. These small cap gappers march to the beat of their own drum. They're often, you know, completely independent of the market in general. The market's moving up, or the market's moving down, this could be moving up equally as well. So we'll see. Long 351 on that dip trade. If it breaks down below 320, that's my out. We're already printing 330s here, so I don't have much more room. Yeah, Jay Lee, shout out to you, man. Grr, it's too cloudy for any eclipse fun today. I know, I was just outside. I went to grab a bottle of water, and the kitchen has a whole bunch of windows. So I was looking outside. I'm like, we're not going to be able to see anything. Right? Yeah. You're going to be able to see the darkness. Everyone's like, oh, just watch the video. Bro, I could have watched the video anyway. I'm not interested in watching the video.
You could have watched the video from the safari.
Yeah.
On top of gorilla. Like, yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to see it IRL. And so I just got stopped out right now of Wave. So I had my stop a little bit higher than I thought there. Okay. So wave, we get stopped out. We'll look to get back in if it shows me the right things. Ideally, if it gets above 350, I want to see it hold above 350, and then maybe we'll get back in. About 7 minutes left on the show.
How already?
I know. Can you believe it? Because I think we've been all amped up for the eclipse. I'm gonna run outside super quick to see if I can get a view of it before I go on the big desk with Brendo. Maybe we'll. Yeah, maybe I won't say it out loud. I'll take Sean's glasses. But
Yeah, let's that'll certainly be interesting. I think it was Louis Twitter in the chat saying Meta is a dumpster. And I mean, yeah, Meta, look at Meta struggling with the 18.5. Like I said, I am always really hesitant to consider levels too strongly in a lot of these crypto names because they care way more about Mother Bitcoin than they do about anything the market's doing or anything I want it to do. However, this to me is an interesting level. We touch 18.5 once. We touched another time. And then we do what could only be described as a quadunk from the 18.5. Then we're seeing this chop and churn, and this is also interesting. Look where we're chopping and churning. Look at this earlier pop up at 18. Look where we're seeing that support, 18. Mara, you trying to give me a level here? But yeah, certainly we've had a pause in this marathon to the downside, that's for sure, at this 18 area. If you had a short off that 18.5, congrats to you. That is a cool 50 penny short. So that is a nice look. Louis says, Mara, yes, dump it. So damp. Yeah, there we go. Sharice saying it better there. Damp. Yeah, this has been quite a move to the downside. Boeing also continuing to fly a little bit to the downside here. We're seeing a little bit of support that I didn't expect at 28. So I think we're going to be getting out of this trade a little bit early. That's okay. That's okay. You got to scalpulate sometimes. You got to switch it up. Pretty happy with that Boeing trade, that's for sure. Also Tesla trying to go 0 to 100 here off this 174 area. This has been a nail biter to watch what we do at this level. I also considered shorting that at 174. I know Sharif was just mentioning the potentially risky 174 short. That was like a couple candles ago. Now though, we are getting tighter and tighter as we get into this 174. If I do anything with this, it's gonna be a long up to the upside. So let's see what we do here. Although, like I said, I won't trade after the midday. We have about 5 minutes left, so this is probably not the climate in which I will enter a trade of any kind.
People are saying it's gone dark mode outside, so I can't wait to go see exactly what it is. But yeah, all right, let's look quickly here. Wave, nothing doing there. So still continuing to break down into that 3 1/4. So I'm gonna stay put on that. No entries back in to wave. What else we got moving on here? Yeah, it's interesting. I think, you know, some of these large cappers are kind of awfully consolidated, like you maybe mentioned earlier, because of the eclipse. Well, maybe people are interested in doing that. I don't have no reason to think that the algos should be shut off, right? I mean, unless you need to monitor them. I know the algo traders back there run their algos.
The robots are watching.
Yeah, right?
Oh, the eclipse.
The eclipse.
Says Fabian.
All right, wave coming into the volume weighted average price here, so it's really breaking down. So I'm happy that I stuck to my guns there with the stop and didn't average into it and then end up getting cut up aggressively. 313 is the line there, the white line. That is the volume weighted average price. It could be an interesting area off which to get along. These all these dips here initially into the volume weighted average price all got bought up, and we ended up making newer highs. But that was before we had 4 5-minute red candles in a row. So the trend may have changed here on wave. We're going to have to pack our patience and see. Keep your eye on that $3 level as well, too. Not just VWAP at 318, but the general $3 area. The other one that we want to talk about, SMFL. So this one put in a huge topping tail candle earlier, and that precipitated a huge retracement down below $1. But look at that. It wasn't able to keep it down for long, off 70 pennies. We pop up into 85 pennies here where the volume weighted average price is. So keep your eye out for a possible rejection here on SMFL at VWAP. And there is precedence for that. Look, when we broke down below VWAP off that big move up above $1, we tried to go back above, and all the pops into VWAP were rejected once we broke VWAP to the south side. So SMFL looks like it might be an interesting short. I think it is halted at these levels though. 84.08, I'm talking about pennies, not dollars, halted at this level. Let's figure out what the tap is. The tap, it's actually not halted at all. This This thing is so stupid. It doesn't refresh on its own. Sorry, guys, to tell you that. My levels were completely inaccurate on SMFL. I thought it was trading at 85. The chart was spewing me incorrect data. It's actually at 70 pennies. So disregard everything I just said. I apologize for that. Let's just check AUD before I make any incorrect statements on it, because the charts are not updating as well. AUUD, there we go. So this one's at 451. Okay, so AUUD is doing what I thought SMFL was, which is come back into VWAP below VWAP. So 450 is that line in the sand. It is the half dollar. It is the volume weighted average price, rejecting off that level right now after trying to hold up above 375. So AUUD, one of the biggest movers on the day, up 207% a dare, but we have 1 minute left.
I cannot believe we only have 1 minute left. It's great to have Sharif back here. From visiting, he went from gorillas and lions to turtles over here. So yeah, very happy to have him back. So is Trenda. And yeah, this has been a really fun day so far. Of course, one of my favorite weeks, range trading. We'll have to wait. Now we're gonna be at the big desk. Eclipses, Sean and Neil and Brendan. Oh my, so much to talk about. We will see you tomorrow with a whole other day of range trading at the same bat time and the same bat channel. For now though, holy eclipse, Batman. Brendan's at the big desk.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, eclipse Monday afternoon. I was just watching a live stream. It's almost there. It's almost